Counselor, ASEC. All right, so for this afternoon, we are going to discuss two modules, just like what we did last time, modules 1 and 2. For this afternoon, we are going to discuss two interesting sets of modules. Module 3 is 5 dimensions of SSE and the SDGs, or the Sustainable Development Goals. And then we also have module 4, which is applying the 5 dimensions of SSE in organizing, managing, and financing SSEs. So before anything else, before we formally begin the session, I'd like to do a little reflection or a reflective activity for everyone. So let me just share my screen. Okay, just like what we did last time, if you could still remember, we have a Mentimeter activity. So for this afternoon, I prepared a little Mentimeter activity for everyone. All right, so let me just share my screen. Okay, so let me just look for this here. Okay, so if you are in front of your computers, laptops, or if you are using your tablets or phones, you can just simply open a browser. And please go to www.menti.com. And if it asks for a passcode, please type in 56438876. Again, www.menti or menti.com. And please use the code 56438876. And you should be prompted to the first set of questions. We were not asking you to write a novel, right? Like just put like a one-liner for the first question. If you could see on the screen, the first question is, what remarkable knowledge have you learned from last week's session? And last week we had really an awesome discussion with Dr. Benny, and I'd like to hear from those who were able to attend and from those who were able to listen to the recording, the important learning that you gained last week. You may type it, you may type your answer in the Mentimeter app, or if you are not able to access Mentimeter for some reason, you can type it on the chat box. Okay. All right. So hi, Ka Prime. Good afternoon. I'm happy to see you today. I know that you're not feeling well. Thank you for finding time to attend this afternoon session. Okay, so one of the trainees answered SSE value chain. What about the others? What have you learned from last week? Doc Ben is listening, so he knows if you were able to listen attentively during the last week's session. Okay, so what about the other participants? What have you learned from last week's session? Okay, SSC activities. And then according to one of the participants as well, from the true or false session, of course, yes, tricky true or false session. Let me rephrase that. A tricky true or false set of questions. We are able to depend, yes, depending on how you understand the SSE. So yes, there's no true or false. It's really on the context of how you understand the question and how you relate it to the concepts related to SSE. And then others type in 7 types of SSEs, and then the concept of SSE or the SSE value chain. Okay, so yes, Saka Prime, tricking questions and tricking answers to questions. Yeah, thank you. All right, so anyone else who would like to add to the Mentimeter, okay, SSE concept and how it is so relevant to your respective organizations, of course. Okay, so despite coming from different backgrounds and different countries, we are all facing similar challenges. I agree to this. And then SSE is not only the business entities, but also linking the informal sector to the economy. That's actually right. I agree with that as well. And SSE concept and how it is so relevant to my organization, according to one of the participants, which is true. SSE is really relevant. There are aspects of SSE that will really work to your organizations. And according to Marilyn, People and Planet, yes, I also learned about that a lot last week. And then Tish said the synergy of the many social enterprises that make an SSE supply chain. Thank you, thank you. All right, so let me now move forward to the next question. Okay, so next is, what do you expect to learn from our session today? I know that we have already shared the modules 3 and 4 um, earlier this week. So we would like to hear from you. What do you expect from our resource persons today? Yes, we have 3 resource persons who will be joining us today. So what do you expect from our session? All right, from our resource persons, from yourselves as trainees for this afternoon session, and then from from the session itself. Okay, so one of the trainees answered more on ethical values of SSE. Okay, so what about the others? Okay, discussion of the 5 dimensions of SSE according to Caprime. And then we have here how to assess SSEs. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? 5 dimensions according to Marilyn. And then, yes, understanding the 5 dimensions. Yes, of course, we are going to have this this afternoon. Okay, so anyone else? How to internalize the 5 dimension into the management. And then we also have here how to assess SSEs and value chain study. Okay, thank you. All right, so any one else who would like to add, going once? Yes, to get more to get to know more in SSE and how to apply, of course, application of these concepts to your organizations, and then understanding the 5 dimensions of SSE and how this can be used in tackling the SDG goals. Yes, that's actually good to hear from you. And then how to apply the 5 dimensions in their co-op. Yes, according to Alice. And then Caprime again answered, yeah, applying this to their respective organizations, like in HomeNet. Okay, so yes, so I think we were able to grasp, or the resource person were able to have an idea of what everyone is thinking this afternoon. But before that, okay, so I'd like to introduce first our resource person. Thank you again for finding or for sharing your respective expectation for the session this afternoon. So I'd like to introduce first the resource person, just a brief introduction. I know that you have already know that you know already our resource person, but I'd like to introduce them, like a short introduction for them. Again, just like what I said, we have 3 resource persons for this afternoon session. First, we have Professor Datuk Dr. Denison Jayasuriya, which is the president of the Malaysian Society for the Promotions of SDGs, and a former chair of the Asian Solidarity Economy Council. We are also being joined by Mr. Petronilio Kasuga Jr., or Sir Paul, who is the communications officer of ASEC Asia. And of course, last but definitely not the least, we are also being joined again by Dr. Benjamin Quinones Jr., the founder of the Asian Solidarity Economy Council. So without further ado, let me now give the Zoom floor to Dr. Benny Quinones. Dr. Benny, you can take this. Thank you. Let's give him our warmest round of virtual applause.
Thank you, Vince. Vince, can you help me share my PowerPoint?
Yes, I will, Doc Benny. Please
Okay,
just let me
Yeah. I hope everyone is prepared this morning, because we're going to, our first session is a review actually, so that, you know, we can deal with questions later on, rather than merely lecture, because lecture is from the point of view of the lecturer, but the needs of the participants have to be surfaced out, so we'll know what they would like to learn. Okay, so we're waiting for Vince to upload, you know, the review questions. I have asked Vince to also share, you know, the list of participants who's going to answer the 5 questions. You know? So Can we go now to the slide number 2, Vince? So just to is this the review question, Vince? No, the review questions, Vince.
Oh, one moment, Doc Benny.
The one that I sent this morning.
Yes. Okay, one moment.
Yeah. So anyway, the review questions basically are questions that are basic for reviewing the concepts related to social data economy, and then later on we will be exposed to relationship between SSE and SDGs by Dr. Denison Jaisonia, and later on further Paul Kasuga will walk you through in on how to organize a self-finance SSE entity. So this morning, this one, yeah, okay. So let's go to the first slide. Okay, so we have 5 review questions, and I have assigned, participants who are going to respond to this question. The first question is, the term social economy is the same in meaning as solidarity economy. Is this statement true or false? Explain your answer briefly. Hyra, are you there? So there are 4 participants who are assigned to answer this question. Is Ira there? Hyra? Yeah, Hyra is there. Yeah. Hyra? Okay. How about Marilitin? Lynn Betis?
Hello po.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, Lynn, do you
Yes
think
po.
social economy and solidarity economy are the same or not?
Yes, sir. They are the same because
Okay.
these two are both the same viable solutions to rebalancing economic, social, and environmental objectives. Solidarity economy is a whole wide range of economics activities that aim to prioritize social profitability, developing inclusive, resilience, decent works, and livelihood and sustainable communities. While social economy, it refers to all businesses, activities intended to be economically viable, like our organization and nonprofit and home net producers co-op, social enterprises, foundations, and including SSE organization. Thank you po.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you very much for that answer. Is Arjun Kumar Bataray there? Arjun? That was a good answer, Marilyn. Arjun, how about Soraya? Soraya, are you there? Okay, maybe we don't have no, Soraya is not there. So let's go to question number 2. Ethical values and principles make the social data economy or SSE distinctly different from the neoliberal market economy. There are 5 we have assigned to answer this question. Is Asma there?
Yes, I'm there. Good afternoon.
Asma, yes. Can you share us your answer, please?
Yeah. It's true. Ethical values and principle makes the social solidarity economy distinctly different from the neoliberal economy because SSE is based on ethical values. It is people-centric and promotes participatory and democratic governance model. And it also the concept of profit sharing and using the surplus for the betterment of the communities and stakeholders, and of course for the environment, is distinctly different from the profit-centric and profit-oriented neoliberal economy.
Thank you, Asma. That was really right on the mark of this question answer. Sitipon, are you there? Kun Sitipon from Thailand. Okay, he's not here yet. Oh, he's there. Kun Sitipon. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What Panir? Panir, I see you.
Yes, Doctor. So in terms of this statement, it is true because I wish to take one particular element in the neoliberal market economy, the privatization of the institutions, which the government feels that it is necessary and it will reduce the government expenditure. But it actually shifted the burden of the expenditure from government to the people actually. So people are still burdened in terms of paying up all these the services that should be free. And if you take Malaysia, for example, public services which has been prioritized, such as electricity, such as highways, it shouldn't be for profit actually. It should be only for the management. The collection of the fee, it should be only for the management. But the collection of fee, it becomes like an exact private entity where people are taking profit, billions of profit out of the services and also the payment that we are making. So in terms of ethical values of SSE, the profit actually goes to the people in a very shared way. But in the neoliberal market economy, it actually shared only to a few people. So I think the statement is true, Doctor.
Thank you, Panir. That's really a very profound answer and right also on the mark. How about Ernie? Ernie, are you there? Ernie
Yes,
Prieto?
I'm here. Good
Hi,
afternoon.
Ernie. Good
Yes,
afternoon. Ernie,
it
what's your
is
answer?
true. This is true
Yes.
that SSE is different from the neoliberal market because in SSE, every organization can help other organization to give some values that they can give anything that the profit can be shared to everyone, not only in the organization but in the other organization, whatever they have produced. But the neoliberal market, they are manipulating and they are centered for profit, and they do to kill other small business just to make them improve. That is all.
Thank you, Ernie. That's a good observation there, that the profit, one organization is really shared to the community. And the community, there are so many organizations there. Whereas in the neoliberal market economy, the profit only stays in the one company that makes the profit. Thank you, Ernie. Indrani, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Dr.
Please,
Ben.
yeah. Can you share us your answer?
Yeah, so for me, it's also true, and I look at it from three perspectives. The first one, I think there were already some that were shared. The first one is that when we talk about SSE, it's on a profit sharing basis, whereas when we talk about the neoliberal market, it's the shareholders that benefit from the profits of the company. Secondly, that when we talk about the markets itself, like for example, SSE, we have the fair trade market, so it's more of the where the producer gets better value, whereas the neoliberal market is more an open market. Again, it's the companies and the shareholders that get the benefit. And thirdly, of course, it's that when we talk about SSE, it's for the people, the planet, and the environment. Those are the considerations. Again, for the market, it's just purely open market, is purely from the company and shareholders, so you don't see it expanding to the other communities and so on. So my answer is also true.
Thank you, Indrani. You have pointed out a very important aspect, and that is the cooperation is very much aligned in SSE, whereas competition is the one that prevails in neoliberal market economy. That's why producers and the buyers, they cooperate with one another. But in neoliberal market economy, the objective of the buyer is to minimize, the buying price, whereas the objective of the producer is to maximize the selling price. So there is already conflict. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go now to question number 3. The term supply chain is the same as value chain. Triana, are you there?
Yes.
Please answer to this.
The statement, I think, is false because the value chain is at the micro level, in the company level, but supply chains is in macro level, that is involved all different stakeholders, not only at a company level.
Okay. Thank you, Triana. Zoel, are you there? Zoel, can you share us your thoughts on this? Zoel Ang. Okay, Zoel's not there. Trisanat Pansawat from Thailand. Trisawat. Not there also. How about Tris Vito Cruz? Tris
Okay.
Vito Cruz.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. My answer is false because supply chain refers to the units of production, input suppliers, institutions providing services, financing entities, distributors, or the wholesalers and retailers, logistics operators, consumers, and the end users, and even the waste disposers and recyclers. That is the supply chain. Whereas the value chain is the value that you give or attach to the chain, to each part of the chain. That's how I understood it.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Value chain is the chain of value added.
Yes.
When the product is passes through from being a raw material to becoming a product or services, and then it is stored value, and then it is distributed until it reaches the consumer. There is added value in every part of the supply chain. Yeah. Thank you, Atish. Daniel Stefanos, are you there? Okay, Daniel's not there. So let's go to the second slide, Vince. Okay. So the fourth question is, the 5 dimensions of SSE of ASEC can be matched with the 7 core features of SSE entities of ILO. True or false? Prime, Ka-Prime, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ka-Prime. What do you think, Ka-Prime?
Yes, po, sir. Doc Ben. Yes.
Why?
Because in the
Yeah.
5 dimensions mentioned in the SSE and the ASEC framework, and vis-a-vis the ILO entities, which we learned last Saturday that there are 7, and the 5 dimensions more or less are into these 7 entities mentioned in ILO for social solidarity economy.
Yes.
However, there are in the 7 entities that the ILO defined, there are similarities, and some have also differences. It depends upon the organization, the framework. But over and above, we promote and we practice these 5 dimensions in our association or in our organization.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So the 5 dimension of SSE in ASEC actually can be matched, but this one, the 7 core features, they have a more specific definition, like social responsible governance. The ILO core features include democratic or participatory governance, autonomy, and independence. Yeah? So there is more detailed, in terms of the 5 dimensions. And then you have ethical values in the 5 dimensions. You have mutual aid, primacy of people over profit, and then also the mutual sharing or mutual aid. Yeah. So there are more elaboration in ILO, and then social and environmental purpose or mission. The ILO feature is broader because they put there the SDGs, decent work and SDGs. So it's a broader. You can pick a lot of indicators there on social and environmental dimensions. Of course, also economic. Yeah. Okay. So is William there? Miss Remityu, are you there? Or Flora May Tatoy? How about Mahin Arif? Mahin Arif, no, he's not there. Huh? Okay, I see Hyra. Hyra there. Hyra, what do you think on this question? The 5 dimensions of SSE match with the core features of ILO?
I think I will try to withdraw what I already read. With the ILO, what ILO already stated in the document, with what ASEC already described with the 5 or 4, I forgot.
5 dimensions, yeah.
I'll look at my notes. Yeah, it's what the description is, I think, more realistic. I mean, it's easy for people to apply. But in the 7 core of SSE, who's entities from ILO, I haven't seen the what is the what for the practical aspect. And for me, what the SSE already give us about the description, it's quite help me out how to apply in our organization. That's from me. Check.
Thank you, Hyra. Let's now go to question number 5. The analogy of trees and forests is useful in understanding the differences and the relationship between SSE enterprise or entity and SSE as a socioeconomic system. Yeah? So the trees correspond to the enterprise, the forest correspond to the socioeconomic system. Is this true or false? Is Maria Annabel Julian there? Maria Annabel Julian. Maria Annabel. Not there. Okay. How about Miss Saleha Sokipli?
Yeah, hi, Doctor. For me, it is true. As you can see, like, trees are the enterprise or the entity. As you can see, trees are actually everywhere. You can see trees in the city, potted plant, maybe anything, even in your house. But to create a forest, of course, it's totally trees. So because you cannot consider the trees in the city are forests. So as you can see, the forests have its own ecosystem to sustain, to be named as forests. So it does need the plants, the birds, water, the river, and so on to create one whole entity or one system. In the other hand, for our part, the socio-economic system, for instance, in the community itself, of course, we do need the community member. For example, maybe you need to take part, participation. That's one of it. And then, of course, you need a mutual support in the community, social control, production, and so on. So for me, the analogy trees and forests actually have the same relation within entity enterprise and the socio-economic system. So,
thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr.
Bibi. You have pointed out a very useful concept, and that is there might be trees let's say in the city, but you know, in order to make a forest, they have to interact with one another. The same thing with SSE. There might be a lot of social enterprise, cooperatives, etc., but if they do not cooperate with one another to really create a socioeconomic system that's different, you know, this SSE may not, you know, prosper much because they are operating within the context of the labor market economy. Yeah. So collaboration, cooperation, unity, solidarity is very important among the different entities to establish the SSE socioeconomic system. Mr. Triangono, are you there?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. What's your take on this?
The statement, I think, is true because SSE enterprise or entity and the SSE socioeconomic is are connected and support to each other.
Okay, thank you. So they are interrelated. You cannot have a system or economy without the enterprise, and but the economy is greater than all the enterprises. Yeah. So you might have a collection of SSE enterprise in the Philippines, but if they do not collaborate, they cannot make the economy. Yeah. You can only describe them, but they don't really make it happen. Yeah. So collaboration is very important. Imra, are you there? Imra?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Yes.
What's
Thank
your
you for the opportunity.
okay.
Yeah. So a single SSE entity can be thought as a tree within the larger forest of SSE entities. Like each tree, each SSE has its own unique characteristic, has contribution to overall health and diversity of the forest. Like similarly, each SSE entity has its own unique approach, sustainability, social responsibility, and contribution to the overall social responsibility of the SSE as a whole community. But however, the SSE entity also impacted by the overall SSE community, just like the tree is impacted by the forest. So the factors such as regulation, the market condition, and yeah, the economy as a whole is in general impacting each and every SSE entity. So in this analogy, the healthy tree is impacting a healthy forest. A healthy forest is impacting healthy tree. So
Very
that's
good.
my take on that.
Excellent explanation, Imra. Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you. Karti, are you there, Karti? Oh, Karti is not there. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much for your contribution, your ideas. You see, it's very important that we have our own view. We express our understanding of the concepts because this is very basic that we are conveying in this training course. If, for example, there are things that you cannot still understand, we're still here, you know, to help you wade through the concepts and the different features of this SSE. Now, I'm going to call now on Dr. Denison Jayasuriya, who was introduced earlier. If that is there already, to present, you know, his Dato, are you there?
Yes,
Yeah.
Ben,
Please.
I'm here.
Please, Dato.
Okay, good afternoon to everyone. I think my slides were emailed, but if not, Panir said he will help me. Panir, can you upload it?
Can, Doctor. Give me a second.
Okay. Nice to see all of you. Sorry, I've not been that active, but Ben has been with Dr. Eri and Dr. Rosalind and everyone. And congratulations on this course. And I see the content is quite serious and quite focused on what Dr. Ben has got people to respond to. Now, Dr. Ben advised me I got 10 minutes to present, and then some question and answer. And Dr. Ben also suggested I should highlight something of our parliamentary group, which we could do. Panir, you can upload it and I'll tell you next. I saw it up just now. Yes. We can have full screen, please. Okay, I'm looking at SDGs and SSE, or SSE and SDG briefly, and then I thought it will be helpful to illustrate from the Malaysian experience. You have Panir from my office, who is in charge of micro projects with James, and also Zoel, who is our communications person attending communications and training in the My SDG Academy, attending this course as well. Next, please. Yeah, we are familiar with the 17 SDG goals. So 17 is quite a large number. But they are quite comprehensive, and there is a breakdown to the 17 using thematic approach. But if you look at it, this is comprehensive of development planning that incorporated the Millennium Development Goals, very much so, which was prior to the SDGs. And in doing this, the writers or thinkers or the global community as a whole agreed to conventions and other themes, like in gender. It's not just services, but it takes on a lot of the commitments of CEDAW in the area of children, and it has interlinked economic, social, environmental, and governance concerns. So a lot of this also relate to environment, as you would see it, cities, addressing poverty, inequality, as well as addressing inequalities, SDG 10. But significant after the whole string of environmental concerns is SDG 16 on peace, justice, and strong institutions, and also partnerships. Next, please. Now, the SDGs could be broken up under 5 themes. Very similar to SSE. There are overlaps to it, and I would show it using SSE as how Dr. Ben had defined it. So people is central in SDG 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so in these, we looked at poverty, hunger, and themes of this sort. Poverty in 1, 2, hunger, 3, health, 4, education, 5, gender. And then the areas of concern for planet, like water and sanitation, and the rest are being numbered. And then prosperity, which is related to economy. A planet could be environment, in other words, prosperity, which is an important component of economic growth, but it's balanced with the commitment to people and planet. And then SDG 16 on peace, which addresses areas of non-discrimination, justice, access to justice, people's participation in decision-making, monitoring like human rights commissions. These come out in SDG 16 because there are not just goals, there are also targets and indicators. And 17 is partnership, that it's multi-stakeholder, not just government, private sector, civil society, academia, grassroots movements, and so forth. So this is the comprehensive development agenda. It's a tall order, but most governments and countries have specific ministries and organizations. Civil society tends to specialize in some particular area, whether it's advocacy or service delivery or community empowerment, or in much of SSE organizations, it's also economy and people development and so forth. Next, please. So these two diagrams capture on one side is the SSE, Social Solidarity Economy, which you all have gone through, and I heard the themes that came out: people, prosperity, planet, governance, but you have ethical values. Ethical values could be linked to peace and justice, because very much in the SDGs, it's coming to the rights-based approach to development. And there is a commitment to governments playing that role. In SSE, there is a stronger aspect of local communities being built on ethical values, certain principles like dignity, justice, and so forth, which are foundations. Some have criticized SDG that it's very humanistic and it's taken out spiritual aspects, the human being and life aspects, but SSE tends to have that, and governance is a strong component of it, which is also in the SDGs because it comes in SDG 16. So there are some parallel to the words. The triple bottom line is appearing in both places, but there are additional strong commitments to governance and ethical values. Some would say in SSE that human rights might not be as strong. Others say in SDG human rights has been weakened because the accountability platform of the high-level political forum is not the same as the Universal Periodical Review. So these are global mechanisms for holding governments accountable to the development agenda. But what is significant is in 2015, the governments of the world agreed to a common development agenda of every country, whether it is developed, developing, underdeveloped, that within developed countries there could be underdeveloped communities. So the theme is one of leaving no one behind, or leaving no community behind. Next, please. So I think this is where the theme of leaving no one behind, inclusion of all. There are 9 categories that come out in SDG 10.2, which has direct bearings on the SSE communities: age, sex, disability, race, ethnicity, origin, religion, economic or other status is defined for a inclusive community. Yeah? Then in 8.3, policy supporting productive activities like decent job creation, entrepreneurship. So ILO's commitment comes out very strongly in this aspect, and seeing SSE movement as one delivery organization to achieve the SDGs. SDG 8 on rights-based approach, protection of labor rights. These come out in the SDGs because it's built on not just economic, social, environment, but also built up on human rights as well, which are global commitments that have been made. Next, please. Now, there is a very strong commitment in SSE to community empowerment. Here, likewise, there is, but these need to be unpacked in its delivery, effective, accountable, and transparent, responsive, inclusive, participatory, representative decision-making. So this comes out in the targets, and then indicators might capture whether this is taking place in a concrete way or not. So that's my comparison to the both themes, where they are parallels, they complement each other, they can strengthen each other. And as SDGs is a global agenda accepted by governments, then SSE as a vehicle is a very clear institutional mechanism to realize those goals, especially in disadvantaged communities where community empowerment could be a way forward. Next, please. Now, Ben raised this in WhatsApp message to me, so I just added this, and I'll go very quickly because I only got a few minutes. This is a journey in SDGs from advocacy to action. It's a civil society movement in Malaysia that started off more as advocacy, but not just talk and criticizing government, but it moved on in concrete ways to deliver along with government. Next, please. So there are three phases in our intervention from MDGs, Rio +20. I was with Ben at Rio through the REPAS movement in 2012. That time we were reviewing MDGs and looking at the next phase. In Malaysia, the CSO SDG Alliance that ASEC team and the members were part of that facilitated quite a bit of this. And then the setting up of the parliamentary group and the localizing agenda. Next. So the formative period, we did a lot of these reviews of the MDGs and some of the reports civil society and others were part of. Next. And here the NGOs played a lot of role in consultation, in setting the agenda. There were many meetings and discussions. So this is like input and recommendations to government in that foundational phase, as we would call it. Next. And then there was the consolidating phase in which we convinced Parliament to set up a group. And over the last 3 years, 57 members of Parliament in a bipartisan nature got involved in the localizing SDG. And civil society is the secretariat. Panir, Zoel, myself are part of this team. These are members of Parliament of the last Parliament. Some of them did not contest. Some are still in either government or in opposition. Next. Some of the achievements, we have reached out to 57 out of 222 parliamentary constituencies. We have run 238 micro solution projects. We have identified 78 solution partners on the ground. 73, actually, the number now is much higher, 86. Then we got youth ambassadors, we got the alliance, we have published annual reports which are on the parliamentary website. So, but the key is the 238 grassroots projects, and if there are questions, even Panir can illustrate them afterwards. Next. And some of the challenges, the difficulties of working at grassroots level, many of the unresolved issues, funding is an issue, the cross-cutting nature of SDG. We cannot look on poverty from a silo point of view. You need to link it with gender. It could be with education. It could be with housing, could be with employment. So it's not a singular analysis, but the multidimensional nature comes out, and multidimensional poverty indicators are key. And in Malaysia, there's a neglect on SDG 16, which is not enough use of the rights framework. Next, please. And there is this expansion mode to building community resilience. I said 73 when this was done, but Panit's update to me is about 86 now, and also reaching to young people and so forth. Next. And this is a framework we developed from ethos to trust to approach to institutions. And the goal is to build resilient communities, inclusive with localizing. You can look, there are publications and articles on this. Next. And the policy coherence is key because of the discussion with parliamentarians. We are involved in various sort of academy and so forth to try and influence public policy and legislation arising from the grassroots experiences. Next. So there is the next 8 years of the SDGs and the localizing, which is actually building grassroots democracies. I think both in the Philippines and in Indonesia, I think even in Thailand, grassroots democracies are much stronger. Ours tend to rely too much on government. So I think the theme of leaving no one behind or leaving no community behind is quite key. I think that's the end. Panir, anything more? Yes, terima kasih is thank you very much in Malay. Ben, back to you. Those are some of our experiences, interlinking. But SDG, I can look at grassroots examples as well, like on-nonsense work or other sorts of work. But I took institutional example in which civil society were key actors to move a parliamentary process. And this is ongoing. And we secured our Ministry of Finance to fund this process as a whole. So for the last 3 years, our Ministry of Finance has financed the staffing, the projects, the institutional framework with the Economic Planning Unit and the Parliament. So that's it. It's an example we are learning. I think in a small write-up that I passed to Ben, which can be circulated, there are some references to the annual report in case others want to look at the Malaysian experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato. So any questions for Dato to respond from the participants? Who would like to just raise your hand and I'll call you. Yeah, Rodmark, you can unmute.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doc Ben, and thank you for that lecture, Dr. Denison. Thank you for sharing what you're doing in Malaysia. I'm very curious because we're trying to do something similar in our country, in the Philippines, and I'm very curious how you got wide-ranging involvement of your parliamentary, because we've been having problems with regards to that with the government. We've been trying to get just one policy for social enterprises in the country, and it's been languishing for a decade now and nothing's happening. So how did you do it in such a short time? How did you get the involvement? I'm very curious.
Okay, I think it was the strategy. One is in 2018, Malaysia had the first change of government. I think Philippines or Indonesia, very often there have been political parties changing. In Malaysia, the first time the government changed, and the parliament was open through the speaker to new ideas and discussions. It was the same time that the UN was pushing for SDGs, multi-stakeholder, and so forth. Now, we found that if we just do talks in parliament and debate about legislation and policy, it attracts members of parliament during the parliamentary session. But we changed the discussion to going to their constituency. So we told them, look, part of a parliamentarian or senator's role is at the grassroots. We'll come to your constituency and meet you with your people to try and map out some of your local concerns. So they were open because we were willing to come. We had some budget, so no budget request. So we travel, hotel, food, we hosted events. But then we did a lot of focus group discussions with fishermen, with paddy farmers, with ethnic communities, religious communities, to get their feedback. Then we got government to give some money for micro projects. So we said local communities know the problem, they also know the solution. Let's give them, like 10,000 US to run some activity on the ground. So that snowballed with a pilot study in 10 locations. That time there were no staff. Academics, NGOs volunteered their time. In fact, we paid our own money first. And because of the team coming together, it was then possible for us to see it. We have not, and that I must say, moved any new legislation. We have highlighted poverty, gender, indigenous people's rights issues on the ground, using some micro cash to assist community organizing, and that's ongoing. But we haven't introduced any new legislation, so our goal and all is smaller, but it's bipartisan. So whether you are government or opposition, if you are faced with poor communities, if you face with mangrove swamps being cleared for development or land of indigenous people being taken, MPs want to find some solution. They don't mind academics, civil society to champion it with them. So maybe the secret is to go to their community and show some of the good practices of SSE organization. And so we will call a member of parliament to join the ground meeting, to meet the people. But we go to all political parties. We have not, and during election campaigning time, none of us will be on the ground because we don't want to be polarized. We don't make political statements. We help prepare for issues. So it might be one of strategy. Maybe Malaysia was open. Maybe our approach was less threatening. It worked for us. So I'm sure for the Philippines, you can find an alternative strategy. Thanks, Ben. If I was too long, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dato. Any other question?
Thank you.
Any other question? Okay.
Ben, can I ask Panir to say anything? He runs most of the ground projects. Just a word, just to see whether he has any idea before. Panir, any comments?
Yes, Doctor. So it's a kind of the platform that we are sitting now and working towards forward missions. It's really created far beyond, like in the midst of 2016, 2015, and which is Dr. Denison and also Dr. Ben very much part of it. And in Malaysia, Dr. Denison played a very major role in terms of creating the platform that we are actually standing and actually working together. The achievement we have today in terms of neighborhood, the 86 neighborhood, the 200 over projects that we are having actually started off with that platform actually. So it's a very, very good gesture from Dr. Denison. Although it's my boss now, but I wish to actually it's a very good thing that he has started from his vision up to mission. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Then
Pane
I
and,
see
Dato.
Dr. Rosalind San.
Yeah, Dr. Inday, Dr. Funeo, please.
Yeah. Hello again, Dr. Denison, and we're very pleased to have you with us again, and we miss you a lot. But
Yes, sorry.
I thought the Malaysian case was very interesting, but I would like to know more about the grassroots initiatives. You did say they were SSE, and then they were brought into the SDG movement, and maybe we can learn from how that process worked. And maybe you can give a little story or some details. So maybe one localization example, and then the solution, how was it decided upon, and how was the funding, and the leveling up, and then engagement with Parliament, and how is that helping create an SSE ecosystem, for example, at local level? Or maybe just one example that you think is very illustrative.
Okay. I think the overall project has a macro impact. Individual projects are ongoing, they have started. I can illustrate one. This is in the north, in a place called Parit Bunta, which is just below Penang Island. There was a group of fishermen who took us on their boats to the waters to show how the destruction of the mangrove swamps affected their income because of they were coastal fishermen and that they needed the mangrove swamps for the prawns, for the crabs, for the little fishes and so forth. So in that project, although there is an advocacy component that we have not been successful yet, a case study has been written and it will be published for wider readership and influence. But the immediate response that Panir and others have done is to help the community replant mangrove swamps. Panir? Yeah.
2,000 mangrove plants actually we are planting, and the planting is done through students actually, student movement. So it's like awareness plus the replanting is taking place.
Okay. So while it seems small, it is the local community taking action. The local community has also filed a court injunction and other areas to address these concerns. It's still ongoing, but our immediate assistance was towards replanting. Whether we would brand them as SSE projects as a whole is still in the process, but definitely it is a local community. They are a registered body. They are a fishing village. They took collective stand that addresses their poverty, income, and so forth. Similar like that, there are many other projects linking indigenous people's land and the recultivation and themes of that sort. We could, if Ben agrees or what, then I think James could present some more case studies looking at from an SDG SSE point of view to present them. It will not be as comprehensive, let's say, like Onsen's project, which actually was organic farms that took a longer period of time. Ours are shorter interventions of over 236 projects. in 57 parliamentary constituencies, together with the mapping reports of local needs and issues.
Okay,
Hopefully that's helpful.
one more question actually the reason why I asked Dato to touch on this, because this is a very crucial and strategic topic. And yes, I would like to discuss this with Vince and Dr. Inday, when we can give a slot to James, to present what you have said, Dato. But now, I'd like to call on Dr. Eri. We're running short of time, but probably Dr. Eri can, have a short question.
Thank you, Ben. Denison, my question is, it is interesting that the acceptance of the grassroots activity and SSE model into the SDGs in Malaysia. My question is how your institutions record the contributions of all these grassroots activities, SSE types model to the SDGs. So in the national levels, they can see that the significant contributions of them to the achievement of the SDGs. Thank you.
Okay, I don't think all the projects can be categorized as SSE, but I think majority, which I can get James and Panir to work out, majority that have income generation component would have community ownership to the projects rather than individual entrepreneurship model. So I think that would be a key aspect. The movement towards greater recognition of social economy in Malaysia took place through the social enterprise movement, where the government introduced a policy and an accreditation system. I hear, like in Korea, they have a legislation. Philippines tried to do a legislation. Malaysia decided not to do a legislation because it seemed more difficult to get parliamentarians to agree and put the legislation. They said whatever form of registration you do, whether it is a society, whether it's a cooperative, whether it is a business, they then began to set indicators to what would be a social economy base. One, more than 50% or at least 50% of the income must be generated through business. It cannot be grant-driven organization. It's a business. They are generating a business. It must have an economic, social, and environmental impact component to the project. Three, I think it must have communities participating. It cannot be an individual entrepreneur style. And so they started to grade, register one and grade. And the highest level of grading, you get tax exemption for your profits. It's a smaller number, they got that. Cooperatives, the older method, is slow in moving towards SSE because many of the cooperatives have invested their money rather than building grassroots communities. So in the projects we are trying to initiate among women, indigenous people, young people, is to have a stronger community ownership to the process. I don't think we are successful and ready, but from what Panir and all presented to me, they are in 86 neighborhoods, villages, or high-rise flats. That means there they know who the leader is. There is a community of people. They can identify it as a geographical community in 86 different villages. That's one. I mean, this is very small compared to Kumar's example of 1,000 or 10,000 villages. but that we are having. They identified 97 solution providers, right, Panit?
Yes, yes.
97 solution providers on the ground. These could be a university, it could be a cooperative, it could be a society, it could be an enterprise of people who have organized themselves for socio-economic or environmental improvement of the grassroots community. So what our team is doing is organizing them like a people's movement. Many of these points are what Ben has been pushing us to do. So we suddenly got a groundswell of people with common objectives, with small funding, able to do things. So our training program is bringing people together. The monitoring process is bringing people together. Then we have sent academics to the organizations to do some impact assessment. So we got Professor Rachila with her team of, I think, about 19 academics to visit these communities and document it. So over the next few years, you're going to have case studies, some of solutions, some on problem description. But what we are calling for is grassroots democracies, grassroots people empowerment, not so much top-down driven by people like me. So while I facilitate this, I should not be visible. The people should become visible, and they should become the advocates. Then I think politicians will look up to these projects. If they just see Denison talking all the time, it won't be effective. So we are asking the grassroots leaders to become visible, to be vocal, to advocate. We are trying to bring them up. So that's our approach, which I saw both Indonesia and the Philippines very strong in its model. Malaysia is weak in it, but we are starting. That's it, Ben. I know I've taken more time. Thank you.
Dato, I think now you have seen the importance of sharing the experience of your organization. Last time I talked to your staff, I recommended, I suggested that we come up with a training course on localization of SDGs. So you can see now how important this is. And I have talked to Dato Denison, telling him that this is a good policy advocacy initiative.
Yes.
It's not only talking, it's not only talking. That's why we would like to learn from the Malaysian experience. And Dato kindly consider that, because as you see, this is a very important topic and many are interested, in this topic. So maybe we can discuss this with Dr. Ofreneo and Vince, and Paul, when we can organize one initiated by your organization in Malaysia, and we can come up with the same how do you call this setup, regional course, but hosted by your organization.
Sure, it's
wonderful.
Possible.
Okay,
Ben, we have learned quite a bit from the SSE Academy. That's how our My SDG Academy emerged. We have now moved to YouTube, and then I think I'm getting the younger people to shift gear to TikTok, because people don't want to listen too long. They seem to be influenced by TikTok messages. So that's our next step. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dato. Thank you very much. Now,
Dr. Ben, you're muted, Dr. Ben.
We have to move on. Sorry, we have to move on because we are running out of time. In fact, we are over time already. But we have 4 more speakers to share, what they are doing. Again, this is very important because we are trying to learn about SSE And the first person I'd like to call on is Asma Rabji from Pakistan. Asma, are you ready?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Asma.
Thank you. I'm going to share the presentation on the supply chain, fair trade supply chain of Sabah, Pakistan. I will try to share, and if I'm not able to, yeah, there it is. I don't know if I can share this one. Yes, no, this is no, I have shared with you, Dr. Ben. Is that possible that that I can you see that? Hello.
We can see your screen. Asma.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I don't think so. This is the one, but I don't know how to. All right, let me unshare.
Maybe Asma, if you can share the slide in the WhatsApp group, I can also share for you.
What can I do? I'm sorry, I can't.
Our WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp, your WhatsApp group. Okay.
Asma, yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. Is
Yeah,
this
yeah.
your presentation, the fair trade supply chain of Sabah?
Yes. I sent you, if you remember.
Yes, let me just open it from my end here.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
And I'll be the
Thank
one
you.
to do
I
it.
don't know.
Just
Yeah.
say next. Okay, one moment. Give me a few seconds to just open it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Let me just share it. Okay. Internet in the Philippines is lagging at this time of the day, so kindly give me a few seconds here.
All right. Okay. So I don't know what has happened to I don't know how to stop sharing my screen.
Let me just share my screen. I think, yeah, are you able to see my, are you able
All
to
right.
see it now?
All right. All right. If you can just
Yes, let me just do a slideshow. One moment, please.
Mhm.
Here, you may begin.
I can't even see the screen. I think some things I don't know how to resume share. No, it's not resume share. I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry. I'm keeping
please,
it.
please.
If somebody else can start doing it, then I can.
Sure. I think Doc Benny, we can proceed to the next.
Next, and then I
Yes.
can come back like new share. No, it's not.
You may cancel first your current screen, Asma.
I don't know how to do that. It's just disappeared. I'm trying to do that. I'm so sorry. I had just it says resume share, but it's the screen is not.
Okay. I think Doc Benny, while
what I'll do is I'll leave meeting and rejoin. Would that be okay?
Yeah,
all
that
right.
would be okay. Yeah.
Yes,
Doc
yes.
Benny, we can proceed to the next person first, and then we'll wait for Asma to get in so that we can move. We can proceed.
We're losing time. Just
yes. So who's supposed to go next, Doc Benny?
Presentation by Panier, and then later on Tish.
Okay, Panier can proceed first before.
Okay, I can. Okay, can you able to see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see it. We can
So
hear you
I
as well.
start. Okay, so thank you for the opportunity for this presentation. So I think Dr. Denison just now covered some of my presentation, so I can skip some or I just illustrate a bit. So today my topic will be on what we do in Malaysia in terms of localizing SDG under the umbrella of APPGM SDG. If you see in Malaysia, we have this. The initiative started with Malaysian CSO SDG Alliance, which actually drive away to the formation of the APPGM SDG, All Party Parliamentary Group Malaysia on Sustainable Development Goal under the Parliament of Malaysia. And we as the Secretariat, we are the implementation body in terms of localizing the Sustainable Development Goal in Malaysia. And if you can see, the work that we do in terms of this localizing SDG is actually the bottom-up approach and also top-to-bottom approach, where we, in terms of local level, we do identification of the communities, we do local projects, we also do engagement with the local solution providers, and also the capacity building for the local community and local leaders. And in terms of national, we also involve in budget briefing, in giving input to the government in terms of issues and also the possible solutions. This is at national level. And in regional, we also have participated in the regional UN ESCAPE events, and also there are inputs as well as workshop that we have participated. And I think recently, last year, in July, Dr. Denison also participated in HLPF in New York in terms of as a discussant, actually, as a lead discussant. Dr. Denison participated as a country representative. So this is our approach actually in terms of localizing SDG. And if you can see, again, later I can share the slide for everyone. And these are the locations that we are currently. Of course, we are actually focusing on parliamentary constituencies, which is like easier for us to map. And so far, we are in 57 parliamentary constituencies out of 222. And in terms of our pillars, okay, what we do, our first area of work will be on grounded research, which followed by the solution projects. These are the important element of our work. And then this will be followed by capacity building program for local community leaders and also civil servants at the local government as well as the state. Okay, and then as what Dr. Denson mentioned just now, there will be an impact evaluation of the solution projects, which we identify the impact. What are the impact that we have created? And at the macro level, we also has this national level engagement in terms of policy discussion and also advocacy. Okay, so these are the 5 pillars that we're really working on. And for today's presentation, I'll be focusing on the ground work that we are doing actually. So I can move further. Okay, so in terms of the groundwork that we do, so I wish to actually draw your attention to 2 of our biggest assets, actually, solution providers as well as neighborhoods. So these 2 serves as a really big asset for APPM SDG to localize SDG at the local level. And if you see our solution providers, as what Dr. Denson mentioned just now, these are the organizations that are running solution projects at the locality. Okay, they can be from NGOs, they can be from companies, universities, we have cooperatives and also social enterprises, we have Register of Youth, we have foundation, we are also having United Nations University Regional Center for Expertise who are running projects together with APPM SDG at the local level. So far we have about 97 solution providers up to date. And the plan that we have towards developing them is when they come in as a grant recipient, actually we do some capacity building with them so that they become a solution partner and become a co-funding partner with us. And eventually they move as a project owner of the particular project. So there is an exit plan for APPM SDG maybe in 3 to 4 years. So by the time we exit, the organization or the solution provider will have the independence of running their own projects. So that's the capacity building that we are looking at in terms of empowering the local organizers and also the local leaders to actually lead their organization in a very independent way. Okay, and in terms of neighborhood, our another asset, if you can see, we have about 86 neighborhood where we have conducted our capacity building with them, we have conducted our solution projects with them, and now we are looking at into higher level engagement with them this year for 2023, where we are planning for bringing them for the leadership and also capacity building workshops at the national level, and also engage them with the local and also national leadership in terms of governments and so on. So these are actually our neighborhoods by the state. And in terms of projects that we run, maybe I can just finish in 1 minute. Okay, these are the number of projects as what Dr. Denson mentioned just now is 236 so far from 2020 up to 2022. And some of the examples that I wish to highlight here very quickly is this is social project. It's a MOA Youth Hub project, which actually cost about Ringgit Malaysia 30,000. And this is a very unique youth engagement program, which goes to phase 2 and has got a very huge support from the youth around the area. Moa is in the state of Johor, and the next will be the economy project, which we do up north in Malaysia, in Baling, Kedah, where it's a happy sewing training program. And for now, the place has become a women engagement center, okay, in terms of social support and so on. So this is the empowerment that we are really looking at. They started as an economic project. Now they're moving into a women engagement center, actually. And in terms of environment, as what Dr. mentioned just now, the example is the Padet Bunta Perak, where we are planting 2,000 mangroves. The planting will be done by the primary and secondary school students. So they will be doing the planting as well. So this will be a very good initiative in terms of rehabilitating the whole mangrove area. And the lesson that we learn throughout our approach, these are the lessons, maybe I can highlight a few. The bottom-up approach that we are actually engaging, where we sit with the community, we ask them what they need. Then from there, we tailor-made the solution. And from the tailor-made solution, we take up some good examples, we show to the government. These are the examples that they actually become successful. So the bottom-up approach is a very important key element in terms of nation building. And number 3, the mobilizing women and youth for poverty alleviation is a very good point that we all can agree, where mobilizing women and youth in terms of all these projects will actually bring in more success. This actually proven, I think, worldwide in terms of developing community, and the community solutions that we have is a long-term relationship. It's not an overnight process. It has to be a very long-term relationship where the trust building will take place and so on. So I think these are the very few lessons that I can actually highlight here. And okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's,
So
I think it's enough.
it's quite fast, Dr. Very sorry.
You can share the because we are really running out of time.
I understand. I'll share
the PowerPoint, and people can read it. I would just like to call now on Asma. The last two, Tish and Roadmark, we can probably schedule that later because we're eating into the time of Paul Kasoga actually. So Asma, can you make your presentation?
Yes, sure. If you can, if Venice can share he's going to share the presentation because yes. So my presentation is on the fair trade supply chain of Sabah, Pakistan. Sabah is next, please. Sabah, Pakistan is a SAC business association of home-based workers. Next, please. SAC is a South Asian regional corporation. Sorry, I can't see the presentation now. Is that okay? All right, okay. I think I can open my own because I can't see this the screen now from this Zoom. I don't know what happened. I can't see my screen. All right, what I can do is I can read out from my my presentation, and you can just share the screen since I can't see it here.
Go ahead, Asma.
All right, okay. This I'm just going to open this at my end. I'm sorry, it's kind of a yes. All right, so there's a comparison, like Sabah is based on the 10th. I'm just comparing it with this fair trade and Sabah, how we operate at Sabah. So first principle of fair trade is create opportunity for economically disadvantaged producers. So Sabah is a company owned and shared by the home-based workers, and it has 3,500 members from all over Pakistan. And then we have second is transparency and accountability. So Sabah is a company which is shared by the member, and 51% of home-based workers are the members, and then they actually are engaged in all the decision-making process. And this is and then of course there are There's one way is like because all the payments are made through checks and they are responsible. The community quality controllers, quality controller engaged are the from the community. So, and second is what fair trade practicing Sabha is doing. So Sabha's vision is mainstreaming home-based women workers and partner organizations into business environment. Business objectives is to create sustainable income for home-based workers with fair wages and independence by being market-oriented. And social objective is to revive indigenous handicrafts, economically empowering women and improve their standard of living. Then there's no child labor at Sabha. All member who becomes the member, they are 18 and above. And then their commitment to non-discrimination, gender equality, and freedom to association. All Sabha members are trained on their rights to form associations and form their own independent business groups. And they are free to do business with any other entity and apart from Sabha if they feel like, and they are being given full opportunity. And ensuring good working conditions, Sabha members are home-based workers and they are trained on health and safety issues. And and capacity building is one of the major component of Sabha Pakistan, and they have been trained from start to finish product design and product production, but at the same time they're also being trained on their rights and on their right to form associations. And promoting fair trade, Sabha is also an advocating partner of World Fair Trade Organization. It's a member of HomeNet and HomeNet Pakistan, South Asia, and international, and all members are linked with other organizations through exhibition and exposure visits. So they have direct link with the consumers, and they form their own independent groups. That's they graduate to forming an independent business group. That's our strategy to move out and making them independent, so they are not dependent anymore on business. And then they respect for the environment. Sabha is basically promotes the traditional crafts, and this is indigenous material, and raw material is 100% pure materials. And we recently were commissioned a piece to create for the Textile Museum of George Washington University, DC, USA. And we were part of this exhibition creating textiles in South Asia. So it was a very big achievement for us to be recognized as the traditional craft, indigenous craft promoting organization. I'm sorry, I've been rushing through, but Dr. Ben had told me just to be on, make it for 4 minutes. I don't know whether I could make it or not, but
is this your last slide?
Yes, this is my last slide.
Okay.
So
thank you very much, Asma. Sorry for the rush, but you can share your PowerPoint.
Yes.
And we can still have a session later on. I'll see if there's still time, to ask questions later on,
Yes,
because
sure.
we have to, as I have advised, we have to sort of, relate the fair trade principles with SSE core features. This is, the normal way of presenting when a cooperative is presenting. They're presenting the cooperative principles, but you cannot see is in that way if you just describe your own organization, because this is a problem actually, because when we look at our organization, we look at the features of the organization, the characteristic, but we have a guideline already of the 7 features of SSE. Yeah. So this is the thing that we need to look at when we're looking at organization, to really find whether our organization is a entity or not. Otherwise, we won't be able to find. Yeah. Anyway, so with that, I'd like to thank Asma and Panir. We have 2 other presenters, Tish and Rodmark, but I'd like to discuss this with Vince when we can feature these very short presentations. But again, thank you very much, and like to give back the floor to Vince to introduce the next session of Paul. Thank you, Vince and Paul. Thank you. Back to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Doc Benny. Again, we do not want to really waste time since we're running late. So I have already introduced Sir Paul Casulla. So let me just open his presentation, and perhaps Sir Paul, you may want to open your video now to be able to start your session. Let's give our warm round of applause to Sir Paul Casulla. Okay, Sir Paul, are you there?
I'm having a problem with my audio. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud now, sir.
Yeah. Wait. I tried to use a headphone, but it seems it's not working very well. Okay. Actually, I don't know anymore what to present more after the presentation of Dr. Quiñones and Dr. Denison. Anyway, my assignment here is to present about the application. Okay. Good afternoon again to everyone. Welcome to Module 4, applying the 5 SSE dimension to setting up and financing SSE enterprises. To start with our session, let's have a quick review about SSE. This review may help us know more about the product we're going to sell in the market. And our product is called the Social Solidarity Economy. So just a quick review. What is SSE? Since the long ILO definition is hard to commit yet in our memory, here is a simplified definition in a way that is easier to recall. SSE is a bit a system opposed to profit-oriented economy. Last Saturday, Dr. Quiñones simply described SSE as a values-oriented economy that addresses the 3 Ps. Sorry, I am having a delay in my Vince. Okay.
Yes, would you like me to help you, Sir Paul, to just share this?
I'm having trouble with. Anyway, I can manage from here.
Okay, sure.
Okay, can you see it now? My PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, we can see it, Sir Paul. You may go ahead.
Okay, people. Okay, an economy concerned with the welfare of the people. It is inclusive. People can exercise their rights, a right to be with and a right to work with. But rights must be accompanied by responsibility. By being with and part of it, we all have the responsibility. So another P is planet. It focuses more on environmental protection, giving emphasis to renewable, recyclable, reusable, and upscalable. Another P is profit. To sustain the economy, we need income generating activities on a sustained manner where profit and income is derived from fair trade. And there's another P, we call that the partnership. Partnership is about connection, cooperation, coordination, and shared responsibility. So take note of the word shared responsibility. This being given emphasis on the definition of social solidarity economy. And last, finally, it aims for prosperity and peace as presented by Dr. Denison earlier. So the question now is, does SSE exist? Yes, it does exist, and it's evident in the work of SSE organizations. organization, Okay. We we classify SSE organization as membership-based organizations that apply the principles of self-management and collective ownership, like cooperatives, self-help groups, mutual help organization, and others. There are also non-membership-based organizations like foundation, non-government organization, microfinance institutions, with income-generating activities and or business development services that support community-based organizations. They are considered SSE organizations because they operate in accordance with the values of SSE, and they contribute to the achievement of sustainable development goals. They create and support SSE enterprises. Now, actually, this is your included in your assignment. Is your organization an SSE organization? If yes, can you tell us what makes your organization an SSE organization? If not, what do you think is lacking in your organization to become an SSE organization? May we ask at least one participant to share something? Just tell us whether your organization is an SSE organization or not. Anyone from the participants? From Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, or from the Philippines? I know from the Pakistan is already tired of already. She already presented earlier. So how about the other participants? Do you want anyone who wants to share? Anyway, okay. Let's move on. SSE enterprise is a business owned and operated by SSE organization. So organized by SSE organization, whose members agree to work together for the common purpose of managing economic and social activities. While it is for profit business, it has a social mission to create positive and social change. The product it produces complies with the health and environmental safety standards. Now, how it differs from social enterprise. What's the difference between SSE enterprise and social enterprise? Practically, they are the same enterprise. But normally, although it's already given earlier that SSE enterprise are organized by SSE organization, while social enterprise also the same as the SSE enterprise, but these enterprises are normally individually operated. Unlike the SSE, it's a group-based enterprise. And most of these social enterprise are created by the people we call social entrepreneurs. Okay. Social entrepreneurs are people using their entrepreneurial skills, created enterprises in support of their social mission. Okay. Okay, another question. What features make an organization an SSE enterprise? Anyone who wants to share? I'm talking about here about characteristics. What are the characteristics that an SSE enterprise must have? Can you name some? Anyone from the participants? If you are into SSE program, you are always asked to be active when you are in the field.
Shared properties, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, Panir.
The profit is shared.
Profit is shared. Okay, that's good. And any more? Any
they have to be sustainable by earning profits also.
Okay. Sige.
And
Let's go on with the presentation. Okay. There is SSE Enterprise have a clear goal. It prioritizes social mission over making money. Income is primarily generated by business activities. They are directly involved in the producing goods or providing services to a market, and they seek to be a viable trading organization with operating surplus. SSE is also a majority of the profit are invested into the organization. Okay. It's a data-driven. They have a solid monitoring and evaluation system in place. So every social initiative the enterprise undertakes is tackled and analyzed. Things that work can be replicated, while mistakes can be learned from. They have a business plan before they go on to any venture. The business plan they did are adaptable. Okay. Social ownership. They are autonomous organizations with governance and ownership structure based on participation by stakeholders, groups, or trustees. Profits are distributed as profit sharing to stakeholders or used to benefit the communities. Okay. Now, SSE as SSE Enterprise as a group enterprise. A group run SSE Enterprise can have better chances of success. Success than an individually run enterprise. Since individuals have different skills working in group, instead of as individuals make it possible to combine the different abilities and makes work lighter and easier. Groups also have greater bargaining power than individuals and easier access to services such as advice and assistance from either the NGO or the government and other institutions. However, not all groups are suited to carrying out income generating activities together. Here are few characteristics common to all who are successful in running small businesses. Consider having most of these characteristics before introducing the idea of running an SSE enterprise together in your organization or to your partner organizations. So here are some of the advantages. There's advantages on having a group-based enterprise. Considering the advantages of running a group SSE enterprise, while some people may prepare carrying out income generating or livelihood activities on their own and may be well suited to doing so, there can be several advantages to working together as a group. For example, group members can share their skills, time, and resources to make something work. This also provides members with the opportunity to acquire new skills and knowledge. So different people are good at different things. By working together, the group can take advantage of this. Okay. Work can be divided among the group members, making the best of the time available to everybody. This ensures that the business goes on even if one person is sick or not available during the day. Even the hardest or most tedious jobs are easier or less unpleasant when people work together to do them. So another is it is easier for a group rather than for individuals to get assistance from outside. For example, ASEC, it will be difficult for ASEC to reach individual because it's too expensive, time-consuming, inefficient, and impractical. But if people work together in groups, they can be easily reached. It is also easier for the group to ask assistance as a group. Group members, especially women, more self-confidence and status. People are usually more willing to work, willing to try something new if they are not alone, or at least ask others what they think. Decisions taken in a group are often better and more realistic than those made by individuals. People tend to relate ideas to their own experience because decisions made in the group are based on people's experiences. They are more likely to be realistic. If other people are willing to risk their time and money as well, the idea is probably less risky. Or rather than doing everything together as a group, another possibility for a group activity could be to provide services to their co-members. Okay, here are some of the characteristics found in those organizations who are successful in running and organizing their SSE enterprises. Here are the characteristics who succeeded in organizing SSE enterprises. They have a good leadership. It is recognized and accepted by the whole group. The servant leader model may be helpful here, I think. All members are committed to working well together. They have synergy. The group holds regular meetings and community activities guided by the rules and regulation agreed by all the members. Decisions are made democratically. The group members have regular savings contributions, and ideally each member has a savings and credit passbook with corresponding ledgers. Okay. The purpose of savings is to finance and refinance social enterprises. Resources can be tapped within the group. A range of about 10 to 15 members per SSG is ideal. It's easy to manage. All members are willing to take risks in running the business. Common practices and benefits bond them together. At least one group member is numerate and can do simple computation. At least one member is literate enough to read and write simple text. So imagine if a group members who are numerate and more members are numerate and literate, the better. If none, can you imagine it will be difficult for them to run their business on their own. Almost all of these characteristics actually can be developed if they are lacking in such cases. The group leader may be able to suggest ways to deal with what is lacking. Now, question again. We're already having so many questions and nobody is still willing to answer to give their views. Anyway, you can put all your answer at the Dakila platform in some other day if you want. Okay, I hope you can. If you are not, if you don't want to share now, maybe some other time. But this is my suggestion. Actually, it came from lessons learned from the field, lessons from preparing the organization to become an SSE organization who will engage into group enterprises. Okay. I am sure you know very well how to make a business plan, and its content depends on its business goal that may also reflect the kind of organization you have. So allow me to share these simple steps on how are you going to help your proponent, your organization, your proponent prepare themselves and may help set their business objectives also. So, okay, this is a simple suggestion. Create a paradigm shift. This can also address to those organization whom you think your organization is not an SSE organization yet. Create a paradigm shift. You know, I learned this suggestion from Dr. Quiñones. Yeah. It is a change of mindset from the existing model that assumed the economy profit should be the only motivation, which is false, according to the presentation of Dr. Ben. So we need to create a different model, an alternative to the traditional market economy. That is what we call the social solidarity economy. The next suggestion is enhance team learning in the organization, in your organization. It is important to point out that it is not the person that is the smallest unit in the organization, but the team. A team presupposes a common purpose for all members as well as mutual accountability for everything the team undertakes. The concept of synergy must be emphasized. Okay, another suggestion. Develop systems thinking. An organization is a system. It consists of parts that are dependent on each other and work together to make the whole system work properly. It will allow members of an organization to troubleshoot problems by stepping back and looking at the whole rather than nitpicking the individual parts. By understanding the role of each part in the relation to the whole, it will be easier to pinpoint the root cause of the problem and solve it at the source rather than finger pointing and coming up with a short solution. Okay. And last but certainly not least is to build a shared vision. It is important because only by asking people to express what their personal goals and desires are relative to the goals of the organization. Will they have a sense of ownership of the organization's vision? This assures commitment to the long term and the willingness to sacrifice and work towards the attainment of shared organizational goal. So, develop your SSE enterprise where the 5 SSE dimensions can be seen or present. So, okay, setting up an SSE enterprise. If your group is exploring the setting up of SSE enterprise, what step can you keep it in mind? Okay. Anyone? Choosing the business. Many points need to be considered in choosing a business that stands a good chance of success. Several of these points are looked at more closely, and effort is spent in planning the details of the business. When the group decides to start an enterprise, especially the SSE enterprise, a general discussion needs to be held. This is already given in all the organization. when you are planning to venture into any activities. The leader should not explain and help the members discuss and the advantages and disadvantages as well as the risks related to running an SSG enterprise or any business. The leader should not interfere with the decision of the group on whether to go ahead or not. The leader should make sure that the group fully understood the personal and financial implications, the commitment necessary, the risk involved, and if they decide to go on manufacturing something, consider the following. The product should be a prerequisite to any SSE enterprise. That their product must be in the line of renewable, recyclable, reusable, and upscalable. Anyone here is familiar with the upscaling product? Maybe later we will call someone from Patamaba Wise. They are making pouch or bags from candy wrappers, used candy wrappers. That's part of the upscaling product. Okay. Now, applying the 5 SSE dimension in developing a business model. Okay. ASEC made a suggested guidelines on how are you going to design your enterprise. Details of this guide is posted at the Dakila learning platform. You may download the suggested guide on applying the 5 SSE dimension in developing your business model. It is easy to use. It is posted under module 4 of our online SSE course. You can align the design of your business enterprise model with the 5 SSE dimension. You may also use this question to help guide others in designing their own business model. Answering this question will help broaden their perspective of how their business will involve and benefit not only themselves and their immediate family, but also the people who will help make the business succeed. From the time they develop their business concept to generating customers, mobilizing resources required by the business, launching the business, marketing their products, services, and scaling it up. It will also help mold their vision for the long-term impact of the business. So for more details, please just visit the Dakila Learning platform and download the suggested guide on applying the 5 SSE dimension in developing your business model. It is easy to use. It is posted. Okay. I asked our colleague here from Patamaba Wise, Miss Josephine Parilla, to share with us their story of Patamaba, how they develop their business, where the 5 SSE dimension can be seen and alive. Ati Olive, are you already there?
Yeah.
Can you share with us how the Patamaba did it?
Yeah. Nakikita ba ako? Can you see me now?
Yes, Ate Olive.
Okay. So, good afternoon and thanks to Sir Paul. I'm supposed to be one of the participants of this course, but due to some reason, I wasn't able to really have it. So I would like to share with you the Patamaba Wise experience towards building a community-based social solidarity economy model with, of course, with bottom-up and led entrepreneurship approach. So as a background, Patamaba workers or in the informal sector enterprise, or to short WISE, is a membership-based organization organized in 2006 as the economic arm of Patamaba National, and here based in Rizal. No, so at start we are a group or social enterprise seeking business solution to our social problem, but aiming to be a social solidarity economy organization. The objective of the organization aim to transform lives of home workers and other workers in the informal economy, achieved through organizing, networking, capacity building, and socio-economic program, to repeat, through leaderpreneurship, bottom-up, and social solidarity economy. So we are affiliated to a national organization, mostly women, and HomeKnit Philippines is again another national organization with 27 national, local, provincial, and community-based organization of workers in the informal economy, and again, mostly home-based workers. The challenges we face, of course, we face on the issue of social protection, social security, insurance, justice, security at workplaces, gender-based violence, unpaid care work, and of course, climate change. The issue on human development services, including widening digital divides. The issue on asset reform, the issue on participation and representation, the issue on economic and employment activities, and of course, the issue on being resilient. The resiliency, especially on disaster, man-made or natural-made calamities, including the recent pandemic of COVID. So how the organization responds, no? We do solidarity-based action for relief and recovery. We bridge the digital divide, the communication, education, and marketing. We did savings and loan association to facilitate livelihood recovery. We conduct and we have health and wellness program, food security program through community-supported organic agriculture, community gardens, community kitchen, pantries, and of course, and volunteerism activities. So right now we have, we're into, of course, gift toys and housewares. We have a backyard and community gardening. And again, as what I've said, we have community kitchen. How do we run this? The Patamaba WISE is being run by the community-based leaders, the community, the member organization, and of course with fully structured community leaders, mostly composed of women, because 98% of our membership are women. So we have that. It is being run and managed by women. We had a monthly meeting. We regularly do feedbacking. We regularly do reporting of our activities, of how much we earn for this month, and how much we have a net surplus, and among others. So again, the organization aims to have the issue on no poverty from among us. So therefore, if we have income, well, we address the hunger issue, and of course, again, we reduce also the inequalities, not just from among the organization, but in inequalities in our community. We do care, and we do care our environment, because aside from what Sir Paul said, the renewable, recyclable, the upscaling of products from its original form. So again, as an example, we did candy to wallets. We did cysto bags or into a container, even plant container or bag, and anything that can be reused. And currently we're into garbage to garden. No, we are into practicing now what we call the Bukashi model of having a fertilizer that can made out of food waste in of course in our kitchen. So we are doing it, and we produce product who are not detrimental to the security of anyone, because some of our products is being we have this what we call certification from the Bureau of Product Standard that our home care products are not cannot damage the environment and so the people. So we are environmental friendly. So we use raw materials that are environmental friendly, if not organic. And then we want to be sustainable in all our economic activity, because if you are sustainable, we can run our organization, we can run our businesses, and we can support the women on their daily daily activities, and even their the family expenditure. So we want to be sustainable, not just being we're hoping to build somehow an enterprise that is being run and managed by women, and we value solidarity from among us, from all the members. We respect one's opinion. We respect, not only we respect, but we also adapt the opinion that being given to us by the members. And again, we want to be strong, and we want to be we want to pursue the economic activity that is sustainable, and of course being helpful to our members. So again, as I want to borrow the quote of Helen Keller: "Alone we can do little, together we can do so much. And in solidarity we're strong, so everything will be overcome." So thank you. I'm only given for 5 minutes by Sir Paul. Thank you, Sir Paul.
Thank you very much, Ate Olive.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Please remove the sir. I'm not sir. I'm Paul.
Okay,
I'm only Paul.
it's all right.
No, sir. Okay. Any question regarding the presentation of Ate Olive, what she shared with us about the Patamaba Wise? Anyone from the participants who wants to ask question?
Sir Paul, yeah. Sir Paul, prior to that, I would say that our initiative and our approaches are really aligned with various SSE dimension, and in fact the SSE SDG goals. No, we see to it that we value that, and it's been a practice to us ever since. Not even SSE was introduced to us. So prior to, we have this kind of value in our organization.
Thank you again, Ate Olive. Anyone who wants to ask, Miss Olive Parilla from the participants? Oh, okay. Now, here's the big question. Now we know what to finance and how to prepare our organization and our target organizations also who wants to venture into SSE enterprise. And now the biggest question is, where and how are we going to finance SSE enterprises? Any suggestion? Where can we get? Idrani, you want to ask something?
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask who conducts the training for the income generating activities of Patamba? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, Sir Paul, I can address now.
Paul lang.
Okay, as we're being organized since early 90s, we've been into training, and among us leaders, we're being trained to be trainer. So at the national level, some community women were being trained on to do the, again, leaderpreneurship. We're not just entrepreneur, but we are also leaders. So we're being trained to be, well, a good manager somehow, and then the leaders who are being trained as the trainer will do the re-echoing of the knowledge we got from at the national level. So at the community level, the national leaders, or even the provincial or local leaders in the organization, were the one also who are giving or sharing their knowledge to the local members. So, but of course, we started. We had mentors from the academy, from the business, really business practitioner, and of course we have again Sir Paul as one of our mentors, and we have a lot of we also have Sir Ben, and of course our friends from the academy, not just in economic activity, but as well as how to manage and run an organization, not just a business or economic organization, but even on running the organization. We learned that from our mentors. So we are now doing it to the community.
Okay, thank you again, Ate Olive. Miss Idriani, it's that okay with you?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, because we are also trying to see how we can work with the community at the grassroots level. So it's good to learn the experience. Thanks.
Okay. Miss B. Surkipli is raising hand.
Yeah, hi.
Yes,
I would like to ask, because I saw in your slide, it's mentioned housing program. So can you share a little bit more on housing program? Is it a benefit for your members, or how does it actually works in your organization?
Okay, I can have that. Actually, Patamaba Wise, our organization, way back in 2002, most of our members are well, not coming from in a place, no, and we don't have, and even myself don't have a house to live in. So we are renting, and some other members are. It's bad, not really bad word, but sometimes we occupied as a place which we don't own. So in 2002, we were able to facilitate with our local government units to do a housing program. So we first build on the land provision, and we were able to acquire, and later on we build houses. So we have, again, if Patamaba Wise is the economic arm of Patamaba here in Rizal, we also have a Patamaba Homeowners Association, where 216 members of Patamaba in Rizal were able to build houses and in one community. So again, Patamaba HOA, or the Homeowners Association, is being run and managed by women, mostly women. And well, not all officers are professional, or what I mean, having a degree holder, but we were able to manage and run the organization since 2004, when we started building our own houses here in our community. So right now, we have a strong 216 household that is part of Patamaba HOA, another project of Patamaba and Rizal. So we really address, because we want security in the workplace, and we also want that the members are being secured, not just on livelihood, on income, but even on our on the production, security, and we even have here an office. We have a Patamaba Hua office where we have a center satellite of production where some women can sew RTW or and again we have to revive our bakery where we produce healthy and healthy products that made from bread and vegetables. So that's how we, because we saw a need really to address the social issues by the community. So the community having enough water, we have lights, it's being secured, and we have an office to work on, and we have an office to have for meetings and among others. So we have a community where members are being protected by, well, of course, no, and the issue on housing and land and housing issue is being resolved by the organization. We were able to facilitate that with, of course, with our partnership with the local government units and to some private sectors. So we're able to do that.
Thank you again, Ate Olive. If you want to know more about Patamaba Wise, it is in the Annex 1 of the Module 4 posted at the Dakila platform. And also you can post your other queries at the Dakila if you want to know more, or if you still have some more question about the Patamaba Wise. Anyway, we still have another actual case later in another topic. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that now we know what to finance and how are we going to prepare our organization and prepare our target organizations. Now the big question is, where are we going to source the fund to finance these SSE enterprises? Okay. Actually, this is quite an issue. Okay. This is the question again. If you, I wish some of the participants can share their ideas on this. Just share your thoughts about
Sir
this.
Paul, you can call them. It's okay, I think. You can call names. Yeah.
I cannot call them because I don't know. I
Well,
want to
I'll try to answer if it's okay, based on our
I'm
experience.
not actually forcing anyone to
No,
share.
I'd
Yes,
like to
sir. Yes,
answer,
sir.
sir. Yeah. Well, with regards to how we do it, just a brief background. We have a social enterprise. This is another question. When you finish your talk, I'll have a question about the definition of SE and SSE. Um, I have some clarifications regarding that, but based on the definition that you gave, our enterprise is definitely a social enterprise, but most of the, well, all of the items you pointed out about SSEs also includes our organization, except that we are self organized. We are not organized by an SSE organization. And having said that, the way we do things is that we set up micro ice plants for communities to which they will run it as their own. And we get funding from we used to fund everything ourselves, but then we realized that that wasn't a sustainable business model. So what we did was we partnered with other organizations such as foundations, international nonprofits, and well-meaning individuals also who would like to fund the communities that we partner with. Eventually, the communities also become social enterprises or social SSE enterprises, the way they run it. But the funding mostly comes from our partnerships. Sometimes there are also impact investors who are willing to come in and fund either the organization itself or the different projects that can come in. So that's based on our experience, Sir Paul.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Are there any other who wants to share their anyone from the participants? Okay. Maybe we can go on with the other topic so we can touch on the sources of funds, possible sources of funds. Okay. Is that, sir, is that okay with you? Okay.
So maraming salamat.
Ate Olive, thank you again.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you po.
Okay, thank you, Ate Olive. Okay.
Thank you for sharing.
Currently, there are 4 types of financing SSE enterprises. The social base that provides self-financing in the form of savings, shares and capital from members, as well as social loans that may originate from cooperatives, self-help groups, or savings and loan associations. Another source is the surpluses and assets of an enterprise are derived from efficient management of sources as well as the proceeds from sales of assets. Equity includes direct equity investment, venture capital, social impact, capital, and long-term patient capital. Debt and equity through borrowing can be in the form of flexible or concessional loans from banking institutions with interest charged on the principal, crowd, or peer-to-peer lending, online, and bonds issued by financial institutions. Grant can be in the form of donations, crowdfunding, or financing from government institutions, foundations, and even from other foreign donor agencies. Of all these financial instruments, self-financing mechanisms are the most frequent employed by the SSE organization, meaning the funds are coming from the members itself, not from the outside. The basis of these models are savings contributed by members of various groups. Savings is a very important element of a group financial strength. From their savings, group members generate their funds as leverage to create income generating and livelihood projects. So from savings. Now, speaking of savings, what do we mean by savings? This is simple actually words. Anyone who wants to share what is savings from your point of view? What is savings? Okay, yeah. We simply define in the SSE and the ASEC with our proponent, we simply define savings as any amount we kept for the future use. However, the value of money decreases over time as the price of goods increases due to inflation. This means that the value of money depreciates over time as a result of that change in general level of prices. Thus, a peso in the future will not be able to buy the same goods as it does today. So savings, therefore, is any amount kept for the future use and must earn. So it's not just keeping or postponing some expenses, but the money you kept must be earning. Okay? And the main reason for that is inflation. Why must savings earn? Oh, the main reason, of course, is inflation. Rapidly rising prices decreases the value of money they save. In other words, as the price continues to rise, people find that their cash savings can buy less and less and fewer goods. Inflation may discourage people from saving in cash. If prices are rising, saving in kind is better option. Okay? How do people save? Okay. Everybody saves, no argument about it. Even the poor, it's just the poor have fewer resources to start with, and so only save in a small amounts. People save in many ways as individuals or in a group. They save in kind, in cash, at home, in bank, by giving. By giving, people give gifts to other services, not just out of generosity, but also sometimes with the hope of receiving the favor back when needed. A typical example could be a volunteering to help a neighbor repair his house. By doing this, you also expect him to help you when the time comes for you to do some repairs at your homes too. So now the question here is, after defining what savings is, the question now is, can the poor, what we're saying about the poor are those who lack sufficient money to live at a standard considered comfortable or normal in society. Now, giving that question is, can the poor save? Anyone? Miss Idrani, you want to say something?
Yeah, definitely the poor can save. I think you mentioned that, Sir Paul, just now earlier, that even the poor can also save. And as you said, there are many ways of saving. It's not only cash, but also in kind and others as well. And even in terms of resources, even about when you talk about environment and so on, they are also saving the environment.
Okay. Okay, now here's another question. What do you think will prevent the poor from saving? And what action can you take to encourage the poor to save? And to save together, not just to save, but to save together. Any idea? How can you encourage the poor to save and save together, or save in a group? Or do it themselves and save together?
Hello, Paul.
Oh, Kairni. Yes.
I think the poor, we can encourage them by organizing them, and then give them some determination that in savings by group, they will earn also. That's why in savings there's no problem of savings. The prevention of the poor to save is, they always say that they need the money for their food. Why they are going to save? But if we are going to tell them or organize them that putting some money to save and put it together and make it it will earn, and it has other income to be determined for them.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Thank you, Kairni. Asma? Yes.
Yes. Saving for poor is really difficult, because one thing, when you are group saving, you kind of sometime agree on a certain amount of money to save, either weekly or monthly. So coming up with that amount sometimes keep them they are shy to get into this kind of arrangement. But locally, they have different type of group arrangement where they can save money. This is one which is very common in Pakistan at all levels. Even the rich people also save in this way, and housewives and poor people also do that in the villages. That is called committee. So what they do is every group agreed on a certain amount per month to save together. And that is like, it can start from 10 rupees or it can start from 100, whatever you think you can save. And they keep on saving, and end of the month, they have this kind of sort of they put different checks in a jar, and one is picked up, and whoever's name is come out, so that person takes that whole saving and use it for whatever purpose they want to, and they keep on giving it back. So it's a 1-year cycle or a 6-month cycle. So that's how they save in Pakistan. This is what I'm saying, as a group saving. This is one way of saving. Otherwise, it is difficult. What I had experienced working with the communities, that this is difficult for them to save regularly. But once they form a group, then it's kind of a pressure also, but not like a big pressure, but it's like they know they have to save, so then they manage, but according to their what they can do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a good scheme to share.
Thank you.
Anyone from Malaysia, from Thailand, who wants to share something about the poor, the capacity of the poor to save and their willingness to save in group?
I think in Malaysia, we also have the same thing, just like Asma mentioned. Rotation wise, then they agree on the rotation of who will get the saving for this month and the kind of thing. And then another thing, maybe they can also we can encourage them to save when we promise that there will be a return to their saving. So it's mean profit sharing basis. So that can also encourage them to save together. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. It's a rotating. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else wants to share? Anyone? If not, okay.
Paul, there's someone in the chat box. Celine has been sharing. Lynn Betis.
Lynn, okay. Ate Lynn, incentive or interest for their savings. Leader starts as example for members to show them the importance of savings. Lynn?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You want to say more about what you posted in the chat box?
Okay, through experience in our organization, we started small savings from our members. Then it's amount of 50 pesos. We started it. It is like other cooperatives. That is our vision. Then from our savings, we use our savings as our started capital for our livelihood. We use it in our soap making, and through Ate Olive, she introduced how to make soap making. Then after that, what do you call this? We're not satisfied for our soap making, so we add our products by selling rice, retailing rice. Okay, so during pandemic, our savings are not capacity to contribute our members in our savings, so we need another group or any capitals to use as our additional capitals for our rice retailing. And through HomeNet Philippines, they have a project from Recovery Fund. We use that 50,000 pesos as our additional capitals for our rice selling rice. We sell rice through sacks, not for kilos, because some sacks of rice are not in good kilos. Okay, so thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. Thank you. There's some comments from the chat box from Alice Lopez. She said, in the Philippines, that's known as paluwagan. But some, after having taken their share, suddenly disappear already without completing the cycle. Does this happen also in your place? Those who share about the rotating. In Malaysia, according to Soraya, in Malaysia we call it kutu, and in Sarawak it is known as hoy. Did I pronounce it right? Hoy?
Yeah, correct.
Hoy. Okay. Anyone else? Thank you for sharing, Miss Soraya and Alice. Thank you. Dr. Oprineo said, all together these schemes fall under the category Rotating Savings and Credit Association, ROSCA. Ate Prime Hardelesa said, yes, it's true. Okay, anyone else? Okay. So, savings in group is a question of how are we going to motivate them to share in the group, to save and to share with the group. Okay, here's group together and save together. The poor save only a small amount individually, which are usually not enough to invest in productive resources. But by saving as a group, the poor accumulate a larger amount of money more quickly by pooling their service in a common fund, which is used by the group as a member of the group for productive investment. Low level of literacy and numeracy skills for some make it difficult for the poor to keep track of their savings and manage their money. In a group, they help each other learn the skills. As a group, they easily receive literacy and financial management training from trainers, from other civil society organizations, and also learn from more literate members. Vulnerability to risks like bad harvest, food shortage, sickness, flood, income shortage, etc. In a group, these risks are shared among members. Individual members can rely on other members for help in times of need. Group savings can be used as an insurance scheme to help members deal with these emergencies when they arise. No access to safe savings facilities like banks. In a group, the group create a safe place to put their money. Some group savings method do not require storage at all because since the money is immediately redistributed after collections, the group social values. Social values which expect individual savings to be redistributed to extended family and regards individual accumulation of resources as a selfish behavior. In a group protects its poor members from accusation of being selfish. Since the savings belong to many individuals, not just one, they treat the threat against a single member of the group is a threat against all members. So, how about borrowing instead of savings? Well, on the surface, using someone else's money and then paying it back up later seems easier than savings. Borrowing doesn't require any immediate sacrifice. You get the money quickly and don't have to worry about paying it back. Pay it back later, but it is easier than savings, do you think? Borrowing can be expensive. It can be risky. It can be difficult. It can even be stressful. A loan involves a promise to repay the lender. Normally, the full amount must be repaid within a fixed period. And oftentimes, there is an interest. Failure to repay may mean losing valuable possessions like assets as a collateral or one's good reputation, being threatened or becoming more indebted by building up fines and unpaid or interest payments. So in other words, borrowing can only be possible when already capable to absorb a loan and repay it. Only then can borrowing be an option. Okay? Does your organization have savings program? Anyone here? I again invited another participants to share their story about actually their savings scheme currently used in their organization. I asked Miss Prime Ardelesa to share their story on Village Savings and Loan Association. Ate Prime, are you there?
Yes po, Sir Paul. Paki-share na lang po nung ano, paki-share ng presentation ko.
Presentation mo? Teka
Yes,
ha.
because I'm not the host.
Hindi, pwede ka kung kasi hindi ko kanina mabuksan eh. You can share it from your
Yes,
computer.
yes, Ka-Prime, you can share
Sa
it.
chat box na lang po siguro ang copy. I have a hard copy lang that I'm not going to share because I know si Paul ang mag-share screen.
Oo. Wait I'll try to open from here.
Make me your co-host. Then I will share screen. Sige na, Sir Paul. Share screen mo na. Wala nang tayong oras.
O nga, kaya lang di ko mabuksan. I can open from my computer. Can you dyan ask somebody from your place to open for you?
I am alone here in the office.
Sorry.
Can you please forward to Sir Vince? So
Yes,
that he's going to share screen.
If you could email it now.
For the sake of time.
Yes, it's okay po, Ka-Prime. Let's...
Andyan na po.
Hindi ko Ate Fran, can you share it to Sir Vince? Yung from your messenger to
Messenger po ba, Sir Paul?
Messenger, Sir Vince?
Okay, let me check po.
Or baka pwede mo akong gawing co-host.
Yes.
I could share. Hindi.
Actually,
Or,
the platform naman is open for sharing, for multiple sharing. So you can share po kahit di po kayo co-host.
sige, okay. I'll try.
Sige po. Let me know po.
Okay, thank you, Sir Vince. So this is all about my presentation, how Patamaba formed the Village Savings and Loan Association. The first two slides is all about. Can you see? Can you see everybody?
Opo, Ate
Yes.
Pry, malinaw, malinaw.
Okay, okay.
Loud and clear.
As a sort of introduction, what is all about Village Savings and Loan Association, or VSLA. This is a group of people who save together and take small loans from those savings. The activities of the group run in cycles of 1 year, after which the accumulated savings and the loan profits are distributed back to the members. The purpose of the VISLA is to provide simple savings and loan facilities in community that does not have easy access to formal financial services. A VSLA is a more transparent, structured, and democratic version of the informal savings groups found in villages and slums in many parts of the developing world. The main difference is that the VSL methodology is a better organized and more accountable system that even the least literate, least influential member of the group can understand and trust. So how did it happen, and how did this formation in Patamaba started? Way back in 2017, the Patamaba leaders from the national and local chapters attended an orientation or a seminar on Village Savings and Loan Association to better grasp what is it all about. This was facilitated by Trias. It's a Belgian NGO helping Patamaba, and also in partnership with WeEffect. WeEffect is a Swedish cooperative, so they are international NGOs. So we attended the training on VISLA in 2017. After the orientation or the workshop, members of Bagong Silang and Caloocan City Chapter initiated the formation of their VSLA group in January 2018 with an initial of 35 members. The next group that formed the VISLA was in February 2019, before the pandemic in Balingasa with 2 groups, and later in Laguna in the southern part of Luzon in August 2020. In Balingasa, the first group, there are 11 members with share capital of 44,000 and loan to members of 34,000. In another group, the group 2 of the same community, there are 12 members with share capital of 55,000 pesos and loan to members of 35,000 pesos. So here comes the COVID. The through Trias NGO, we were granted of 500,000 pesos as enterprise recovery fund to home-based entrepreneurs who are members of VSLA in 5 project areas. And host micro businesses are greatly affected by COVID-19. They made it as a capital to recover and operate again their micro businesses in the new normal through the management of the Village Savings and Loan Associations formed in their area. Loans were used as additional capital for micro businesses or enterprises, and also to pay fees, tuition fees for their children in school and during emergencies like sickness. At the end of the year, 1 year cycle, members receive their payout from accumulated shares and interest on loans distributed to members of VSLA. This is our, a while ago, it was mentioned about the bank, but in the VSLA formation, we did not deposit the share capital from the members in the bank, but it is placed here inside the safety box with 3 locks and 3 keys. And there are 7 management committee who manage this Village Savings and Loan Association. And the content of this safety box, are this. There are pouches for the share capital, for social fund contributions, and also there are pens and record books, etc. Today, VSLE groups formed by Patamaba has expanded to other areas in Quezon City, like in one of our chapters in Sitio Militar in Quezon City, and another VSLE group in Caloocan City, and as far as Rizal, I forget to mention. And members joining the VSLA are also increasing in numbers because they said that they have benefited much from the program. And according to the women, they joined the VISLA because the system was transparent, the policies were being adapted to their situation as home-based workers, and because the control over the use of funds were agreed upon by all the members of the group. Through the VISLA approach, these women were able to, one, address their need for additional capital that is accessible and has more flexible repayment terms and conditions. Two, generate personal savings, which were also used as capital for relending. And third, earn potential income at the end of the VSLA cycle from interest payments, which was not possible at all with the usual microfinance schemes that were implemented in the community. And the experience in VSLA has taught the women members the value of trust, cooperation, and accountability in collectively managing the resources for their own mutual benefit, because we monitor them monthly, quarterly, and at the end of the year, we did an assessment and evaluation reports on this. So with this, thank you very much. And if there are questions, I'm happy to entertain.
Thank you very much, Ate Prime. Any question from our from the presenter, from the experience of BSLA? Anyone who wants to comment or ask something about the BSLA? Okay.
Can I have a question, please? Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I just
Yes,
want
please.
to. I just want to ask that how much interest rate they charge to the loan they give, and what is the repayment schedule then when they start repaying the loan?
First, for the share, the equivalent of the share capital, they contribute it on a weekly basis. Every week, they share 100 pesos. That is equivalent to 1 share every week. So in a month, they share 400 pesos. And then every week, aside from the share capital, they mobilize also, they call it the social fund, which is 20 pesos for social fund. The social fund amount is borrowed by the members of the VSLA group for emergency purposes. It has no interest. By the way, if they are going to take a loan, there is a policy or a guideline. When are they going to take the loans, and how much are they going to take the loan? How much is the amount they're going to loan, to borrow, and how much interest it is imposed, and also the penalty. So we develop a structure within Patamaba. We charge, say for example, the service fee, 1% of the loanable amount, and in order for you to loan, a member should have shared and within 3 months. She has to share. She has to give share capital within 3 months before she can loan. And the amount she can loan is ×3 of her shared capital. Say, for example, for 3 months, she has accumulated 1,000 pesos. So she can borrow around 3,000 pesos. That is embodied in our constitution and bylaws intended for the operation of BSLA. And then we charge 1% as service fee. And the interest per month is 5%. Only 5% of the loanable amount. But the 5% is divided into 50%, which is 2.5% of the loanable amount will go to Patamaban National Project Committee, and the 2.5% will remain in their own VISLA group that will add to their income. No? And then to not only small amount they can borrow, but when they have already the income, interest income from interest paid and also the service fee and others, they can take loans more than that.
All right. Okay. Thank
So,
you. So when
it is
when they
payable.
start
Yeah,
prepay-
it is payable. Once they can take the loans, it is payable on a weekly basis also. And they have a meeting weekly for that. It's not only they can share and they can borrow. It's not only for they can share and no borrowings. And if we have to reverse that, they can loan and loan and loan, but never share. It's not possible. It's not possible for the VSLA group. That is why it is called Village Savings and Loan Association.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Thank
then
you.
while patronizing the product of VSLA, it gain more profit to the organization, to the group.
Okay. Thank you, Ate
Thank
Prime. I think if you want to know more about the BSLA, it's in the Annex 2 posted at the Dakila platform. I think I'm running out of
Yes.
time. Let me just pass on these remaining slides, and I will bring the session back to Dr. Quiñones after this. Here's just a simple savings scheme, a simple guide to organizing a savings group. It is commonly used by participating organizations in this program of ASEC Asia. It became more popularly used during the year 2000 to 2000 year 2000 to 2015 under the program Bayanihan Banking Program authored by Dr. Ben Quiñones. If you want to know more about the Bayanihan Banking Program, it's in the Annex 3 posted also at the Aquila platform. So all these savings group are organized. They all started from the willingness of the participants to join the group and their willingness to share their little amount. So after this slide, so after accumulating some amount, the group will decide when to lend their money, and all this are being agreed by the members. You can also see this slide in the posted at the Dakila, some indicators on the success key indicators, and we're supposed actually to discuss about the legal enabling legal and policy environment under SSE, but we can just put it on the Dakila platform. If you have other question or queries about the module 4, you just post it on your question or queries at the Dakila platform, and I'm willing to share that, answer that all. So the challenge now is how to bring those SSE enterprises together and create the SSE supply chain. With this, I would like to thank the participants for your active participation and bearing with me with very short time available. And let me bring back to the module 3 to Dr. Ben Quinones, because we still have 2 more presenters waiting to say. Kuya Ben, Dr. Ben.
Thank you, Paul. Let's give Paul a big hand. You know, this presentation by Paul, normally it takes him three days at least to deliver this, because this is an organizing tool. And this is the advocacy and expertise of Paul. He is teaching Patamaba members about this. So maybe those who are interested in this, we can probably create a separate training course on this. But we have 2 more speakers related to our topic of supply chain and SSE. Let me now call on Tish Vitocross. Tish, are you still there?
I'm still here, Doc Ben, but I wonder if the participants are still willing to stay.
Yes,
it's
yes.
okay.
Very
It's
much
okay
willing
with
to hear
me.
from you.
The presentation is with Vince. Okay, the presentation is with Vince. Vince will help me present.
Early, one moment.
Okay.
Angkamiatis.
Oh yeah. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. So while we're waiting for Vince, I would like to apologize. I will not be able to open my camera. My Zoom account is a bit unstable right now. If I will open the camera, it will continue to blink and it will distract your attention, and maybe even earn the ire of someone. So may I do the presentation now? HomeNet Producers Cooperative supply chain, SSE supply chain. Next, please. Please, 3 more. Okay, thank you, Vince. Another 2 more. 2 more clicks. Okay, there you go. So 70% of the members of the cooperative are composed of home-based workers and 30% are non-home-based workers. That includes me. We market food and non-food produce or products of the members. Our social objective is to provide the best services to increase productivity through maximum use of resources for profitability and benefit of people and planet while promoting peace and partnership. Next, please. Okay, so this is a simple illustration of how I see the HomeNet Producers Cooperative. So there are many stakeholders taking part in the entire supply chain. So we have the suppliers who are the farm producers or growers who supply us with the vegetables and fruits, and we also have people who create their products, like from Patamaba and Iliang, many other partners who are contributing their crops to the store. So from they have their own supply chain, right? So their raw materials and all the processes that they go through until the finished product is ready for marketing. And so they deliver the products or the produce to us, to the store, and the store markets it. So there are 3 ways that we market the products or the produce. One is at the store, and then another is through the social media platforms like Facebook. We have a Facebook page, and we also have a group chat on Messenger, and that's where we receive orders, and that's where we also post products that are on sale for the week. And then, of course, there are several ways wherein the products reach the consumers or our patrons. One is maybe we can, okay. One is they walk-ins, they go to the store, the neighbors go to the store, and also the other members of the NGO community and our family and friends who go to the store. And there are also, apart from the walk-ins, those who place their orders through the group chat or through the Facebook page or through texting or calls, no? And those are delivered by the courier, so another stakeholder, like here in the Philippines, we have Grab and we have Lalamove and we have Borzo. So those delivery riders or couriers are accessed by our customers. And so at the end of the supply chain are the consumers who also repeat their orders. So what kinds of products and or produce do we have? Next slide, please. So we have, these are our partners, Patamaba Purple Market, our suppliers, Patamaba Wise, Patamaba Baguio, Patamaba Iloilo, Pinanga, Canida, Ilyang Scraps and T-shirts, Chop House, and Isda on the Go. Those in the first list are members of HomeNet, the cooperative, and they come from different places in the Philippines. Okay, so from Luzon Island and from the Visayas Island. And the last in the list is the On the Go, is in partnership with the government. This one is our supplier of fresh and frozen fish and seafoods, other seafoods. So these are our suppliers. Next, please. Now, these are the products and produce that we have, no, that our suppliers provide us at the store. So we have food products like fresh fruits. Next, please. And then fresh vegetables and herbs. Next, please. And then, of course, the fresh and frozen seafoods. Next, please. And then the byproducts of the vegetables and fruits like herbal tea, and then noodles, wine, some preserved meats and bottled sardines. We also have vinegar, and those are organic vinegar and soy and other bottled products, even desserts, no, for like cakes in a bottle. Next, please. So we also have non-food items from our suppliers like clothes, t-shirts and dresses and shirts. Next, please. And then we also have body accessories, as you can see, for the ears, the fingers, the neck, and we also have the holder for the face mask. Next, please. Then we also have bags and jewelry boxes and teapot mat and cosmetic kits. Next, please, and grocery bags as well. Next, please. And we also have wall clocks from Canida. Next, please. We are also supplied by our suppliers with plants, candles, toys, and home decor. Next, please. As well as laundry items and dishwashing liquid and bath soap, and of course, cleaning and hygiene materials, also like foot mats. Next, please. Yes, and I can see that Ka Prime said herbal plants. And of course, we are also supplied with recycled items, like from Tetra Pak juices are turned into or recycled into bags. And also tires are recycled into rubber slippers. Next, please. Okay, so who are our consumers? The cooperative members, the members of the NGO community, our family and friends, walk-ins from the different places around the store, and also by word of mouth. Some people drop by the store, and then of course member of the social media groups where place their orders. Next, please. Okay, so going back again to the supply chain, we have in mind the SSE principles, and we strive to reflect those and to put those into practice in every step of the way of the supply chain. Next, please. So in I would like to share an insight and conclusion on effective marketing strategies. HomeNet Producers Cooperative needs to go online and develop its digital platform in combination with brick and mortar store. Okay, next please. I think this is the last one now. Sir Ben. Okay, thank you very much. Unless Ka Inday would like to share something. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. That was an excellent presentation. I didn't imagine you could do that in such a short time. But I think I just want to add one more marketing strategy, and that is barter. I haven't heard anything about barter in the discussion so far. But, you know, we have a supplier. They do calamansi malunggay and tela juice, and they do herbal teas and then ginger turmeric granules, etc. But they also buy our candles and our slippers. So they come with their products and then they get what they need, you know. So sometimes there's no cash exchange, you know, or we just say, oh, we owe you this small amount, and they say, oh, you know. So there is that possibility, if we are cash strapped, that we just exchange products, and that sort of works for us. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Inday and Chris, for that very wonderful presentation. You have given us a perspective of what we call short supply chain, which is an SSE supply chain, where the members of the cooperative are also the ones marketing. Now, we have seen a supply chain at the micro level. I would like now to call on Rodmark to show us a macro, a national supply chain, you know, that his group is attempting to create in the Philippines. Rodmark, it's your call now.
Thank you, Dr. Ben, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to present what we're trying to do. So let me start by sharing my screen. Okay, so in the next few minutes, I'll just be discussing about the National Social Enterprise Development Roadmap that we've started doing for our country, the Philippines. And this is an overview of the said roadmap. So what is this roadmap in the first place? Basically, it's a 5-year strategic plan that involves multi-sectors, different subsectors that all play an important part in the social enterprise sector in the country. So, and this was developed by the Bayan Innovation Group together with our nonprofit, the Society for the Advancement of Professional Social Entrepreneurship, of course, through the generosity of BPI Foundation. So, why was this development roadmap for the social enterprise sector created in the first place? We all know from the days that we've been together, we've been talking about the SDGs and ways to help society in general and also the planet in general. And more and more, there's mounting pressure for everyone to for all businesses to become more inclusive, more responsible, and more sustainable. And we've also known that currently doing well by doing good is an economic and social imperative, and it's more relevant than ever. So back in 2021, we were commissioned to do a research study, an extensive research study through the Bayan Innovation Group. And one of the things to study the social enterprise sector, the current state in the country. And we found out one of the biggest things that we found out that there was really a lack of understanding of what social enterprises are, or even from the social enterprise practitioners themselves, even from the social entrepreneurs, there was really no concrete understanding. And there were so many misconceptions. Some people would say that social enterprises should not earn profit. Some would say that it is not a very profitable enterprise. Some would say that it's just a micro enterprise. Once it grows in size, it's no longer a social enterprise. So there were so many misconceptions about what social enterprises were. And of course, because of this misunderstanding across all sectors and across the entire nation, even from the general public, this created a negative impact on the sector, as there was no real maximization of all efforts happening. So this affected the growth and the effectiveness of the sector. So the way we did the roadmap, the way we approached the roadmap is we tried to look at the current sector through different lenses, because currently in the Philippines, there's no governance system yet, and there's no policies related directly to social enterprises and social entrepreneurs. So we tried to look at how social enterprises were first registered as businesses, no? So we found out that social enterprises were registered in all modalities. Some were traditional enterprises, some were nonprofits or foundations, some registered as cooperatives, and some as associations. We also tried to study the enterprises by its life cycle. So we looked at startups, we looked at those who were ready to scale up or ready to accelerate, and also those maturing already or even ready for expansion. And lastly, we also look at all the major stakeholders, all the major interveners who were trying in one way or another to assist the entire sector. So we looked at the ways that they helped through organizing and development. Some were helping through education. Some had general advocacies for the social enterprise sector, and some helped through financing. And we did several strategic planning workshops, which took into account all the players from all the subsectors. So we had different sector consultations, which we did during 2021 and early last year. And this culminated in the 2021 Philippine Social Entrepreneurship Summit, which was held last November. And from this, we created this roadmap, this 5-year strategic plan that we hope to pursue starting this year. The vision of the roadmap is generally, first and foremost, to create a common understanding among all Filipinos of what social enterprises are. And taking from what was already discussed earlier today, we chose 3 of the most used points for social enterprises globally. So first is that there should be a sustainable business model, that the enterprise should be able to sustain itself uh, through its own products or its own services. Second, of course, mission, which could be social environmental in nature, should be front and center. It should be the main reason for why the enterprise is up and running. And the mission of these enterprises are usually tied up with the sustainable development goals. And of course, the last point is that the majority of the benefits or the profits should accrue back towards the social environmental mission. So the mission really for this roadmap is to unify the ecosystem of stakeholders. And in doing so, we could help the social enterprise sector grow its scope, its size, and the impact it creates for our country. So we have several objectives. We have 3 objectives for the roadmap. The first is to make everybody understand what social enterprises are and what social entrepreneurship is all about. The second is for all the stakeholders to have a common understanding also and to commit to the development of the sector. And the third, ultimately, is to grow the scope, size, and impact of all social enterprises. Now, we plan to do this through three main strategies. The first is that each subsector or each stakeholder should have its own governance system that could contribute towards the achievement of the objectives of the roadmap. And we've finally finished the initial part of this. Dr. Ben is part. We were so happy that he accepted to be the chairperson for the NGO subsector or the foundation subsector, the nonprofits. The second strategy is to create a registry, a live online registry of all social enterprises and all interveners, which could be usable and open to the public and all other organizations. No, and of course, tied with this registry is to create an accreditation system that can be used by everybody to legitimize real social enterprises from those who are just pretending to be social enterprises. And lastly, of course, is to push for the recognition of Philippine social enterprises through policies, but not only through national policies, but even through down to the barangay level and down to the community level. So there are basically 6 subsectors that have critical roles in the implementation of the roadmap. These are the 6 subsectors. So of course, the first is where the social enterprises are, and this includes other MSMEs and people's associations. The second subsector is the cooperative subsector. The third is the non-government organizations, NGOs, which includes the foundations as well. The third, of course, is the corporations, the big corporations. And the fifth is the academic institutions. And of course, we need the help of public agencies as well. Now, as I mentioned, Dr. Ben is the chairperson for the NGO subsector. And hopefully, through this, we can also invite impact investors who can directly help the social enterprise sector or the social enterprise player grow their scope and size. And we're hoping that we can bring in impact investors, and we've started talk together with Dr. Ben also with Race from Singapore, as well as another group from Hong Kong, and who could maybe help us start something for the Philippines. So the way we invited institutions from each subsector is that because we are just starting, we tried to target the apex networks for each subsector. So we didn't want to start big right away, so it would be more manageable and everybody could still talk to each other. So we started by targeting the apex networks or the networks with the biggest reach among each subsector. So these are just some of the organizations that are already involved with the subsector. So with the roadmap. So I end the presentation with this invitation for everybody. If you have time on February 23, 24, Dr. Ben, I'm asking your permission. I'd like to invite everybody, if you can save the date. If you're interested to learn more about this, you can send us an email through collaborate@bayaninnovationgroup.org. The QR code that you see here will lead you to a copy of the executive summary of the study that we conducted for the social enterprise sector of the Philippines. So if you're interested you can download a copy there. So thank you very much, Dr. Ben, and thank you very much, everyone, for giving me the time to share what we're trying to do in the Philippines.
Thank you, Rodmark, and also you have the thing in my mind, your invitation to the summit, Social Enterprise Summit. I hope that those who are interested can participate so that you learn more about what is happening in the Philippines about this roadmap. It's quite important, and hopefully this initiative can provide the umbrella initiative to really bring together, all these enterprises, organizations that are contributing to SDGs. Thank you again, Rodmark. And now I would just like to make a conclusion to this session on SSE enterprises and supply chain. First of all, we have a questionnaire developed by the ILO Cooperative Unit of the Enterprise Department of ILO for identifying the practices of organizations that contribute or that implement the 7 core features. Already there are 3 participants among you who have volunteered to pilot test this. I have obtained the permission of ILO to use this questionnaire, and they're interested. ILO is interested to know who among the participants would like to use this. But the thing is, you have to submit really, a result of the survey. So you only have to select one organization. It may be your organization, so that you'll know which among the 7 features are being practiced by your organization. Now, if we can do this, then we can, submit our report to ILO, and maybe next time around we can invite ILO to be part of our training course, and we can invite all of you, to be resource speakers. Maybe we can organize several courses in different countries. But this is the first thing I'd like to convey to you, that really my experience in studying is that it is easier to understand what you're trying to learn when you implement it. When it's only conceptual, you keep coming back. And I have seen a lot of trainees of ASEC in the past. They keep coming back and then asking, what is SSE? What are the features? It's because the knowledge that they derived was only head knowledge. And then they have not practiced it. Yeah. So this is why I encourage you, if you're interested, I will only give you the questionnaire if you're interested to pilot test it. However, if you're only interested to know, then I will not include you among those who are going to receive the questionnaire. So I said, I have already given the questionnaire to 3 of you, 3 participants, and those who would like to pilot test it, just tell Vince, myself, or Paul, or Dr. Inday, and I will send you the questionnaire. The second point, supply chain. We have last two supply chain models. The first model was from Pakistan, and then we had, the models of the SDGs in Malaysia, localization of SDGs in Malaysia. So in other words, many of our projects are micro, yeah? And this is very important. But the point now is, in each country, we need to bring this together, yeah? Like Paul was saying, we have to develop an ecosystem, and the only way to do that is to cooperate, yeah? And we have already initiative in the Philippines, and this is the roadmap. And I thought that maybe this is also one thing that we could follow up with the group of Roadmark, if we can create, a training course, on how this can be done, I mean, we are in this together. We share knowledge and experiences so that we can help one another. This is the essence of ECC. I'm very glad that all of you have remained until the last time. I am really very thankful for your participation. And so with these last words, I'd like to give back the floor now to our facilitator, Vince. Vince, over to you.
Oh, yes, thank you very much, Doc Benny. Let's give our resource persons a warm round of applause for this afternoon. We may have stayed over time, but then this is again an interesting week. We've learned a lot, and just like what Doc Benny has always been mentioning, SSE is a continuous learning process, right? So we learned new knowledge every week. We apply that, we try to apply those in our respective organizations and institutions. And yes, we learned again in the succeeding weeks. All right, so we do not want to take much of your time since it's 5:40. We have been doing overtime for 40 minutes now, and we thank everyone for staying. Unless Dean Inday or Doc Benny will have any
Just
final remarks.
a few practical questions, Deans. Those who cannot attend the synchronous but will will watch the YouTube version, will they be credited for participation?
Yes,
And then
definitely.
secondly, those who have not done their work in the asynchronous sessions,
Yes, thank you for raising that up, Dean. I was about to tell it to everyone that I will be sharing a progress report by Monday, and I will also be sharing a calendar. It's a Google Sheet calendar to everyone, to all the trainees, especially to those who have not yet finished the asynchronous session in Dakila, because we would want to talk to you at your most convenient time to share your learning plans for the course in the succeeding weeks. Like, when are you planning to finish it, or if you're having struggles in accomplishing your asynchronous sessions, we'll help you find a way to finish that. All right, so that's what we're here for. So I will be sharing the calendar and just put in there the date and the time that you are most available for a one-on-one session advising with everyone, or with us, to be able to ensure that all the synchronous sessions are finished by the end of next week, because we are almost halfway to the course, and we would want to make sure that you are done with the asynchronous sessions for modules 1 to 4 before we could get into the more deeper modules as we move forward. All right, so Doc Benny has already addressed the ILO questionnaire. So again, if you are interested in working on the questionnaire, our WhatsApp accounts are available. We have a group now, so you can always get in touch with us, and we are more than happy to help. All right, so unless there are any more questions that needs urgent addressing now, if you could open your video, for those who can open their videos, who have good internet connection now, let's all pose for a group photo for this week, to end this week, to end this awesome week. Okay, so as I count 1 to 3, let's just smile. I'm sorry about your video, Tish. It's really messy on my end. So let's try to fix that. I can help you with that after this session. Okay, so for those who would like to open their videos now, let's all have a group photo. Okay, so let's all smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. All right, one more. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, so thank you again, everyone, for coming over this afternoon. If you have any concerns, please feel free to get in touch with us on the platforms that are available for communications. We all wish a safe and awesome weekend. Thank you very much, and take care. Bye for
Thank you,
now.
Beans. Thank you, Beans.
Thank you.
Doctor, thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.